What is happening? So if you guys are just joining us right now, we're just getting started here, having fun. We got a 3-day boot camp. We have so much to cover. One of the hardest parts about this is I'm going through it of what to cover is I got all these other incredible legends and trainers. Of course, I don't want to step on their toes because they're going to go out and smash and they're going to cover some of these things. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to start out. I'm going to set the tone. And then after that, you're going to start hearing from some of these legends as we go. I'm going to do a ton of Q&A session. This will be more interactive than ever before. So make sure on one of the posts, if you see it, if you're watching this live, that you go and you can just look at the announcements. There's a Q&A there, and we'll go throughout that, probably get a little bit more into that later this afternoon. Another quick reminder is this replay will only be accessible for 4 days. And then after that, it's gone. Why? Because I found most people, urgency is synonymous with wealth. That's a principle right there for duplication, how to get the newest person into action right away, which we're going to go through and we're going to talk about. And so we have so much content to cover. I'm so excited for so many that are a part of this, that are participating. And make sure, even if you're watching this live right now, you can still invite as many as you possibly can. I can't go in and accept anybody into it right this second because I'm obviously training as we do this and as we make it happen. And I've got my dual monitors here. And then I also have right here my my phone, which is got it. So I make sure we got all this posting up here so people are watching the live here. So I'm gonna come back to this. Okay, let's put this on pin to announcements, and let's just get right into the good stuff as we go. So let me pull this up here. You guys excited? Where are you watching from? Let me know. Give a shout out where you're watching from in the comments below. Tag any of your team members that are not part of this or not watching on the live. They should be on the live. All right, let's get this here. All right, how to increase duplication, get the newest person running fast. How frustrating is it when you get somebody signed up and it's like I get them signed up and then all of a sudden they do nothing. And because of that, now you're like, oh, I'm kind of scared to sign up new people. Even if you think it consciously or subconsciously, your recruiting lacks because you feel like, well, I don't want to sign somebody up only for them to fail. If I sign them up and then they fail and they don't do anything at all, well, then that's going to suck. And so you start losing confidence. And so you start just hanging around, but you aren't really, truly taking that action, talking to the brand new people as you're doing it. So we're going to go through, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of my story because some of you know my story, some of you don't know my story. I'm just going to assume nobody knows it, even though I know a couple of you know it. Is I was the tennis guy. I played tennis. I taught tennis. I ran a tennis club. And as I did that, I didn't feel like I was very good at selling tennis memberships. And so for me, one of my biggest limiting beliefs was that because I got called in from the CEO, CMO, CFO that just said, Rob, you're not very good at selling tennis memberships. You're great at teaching tennis, but you're awful at selling tennis memberships. So for me, that was a huge, huge limiting belief to me. I said no to the first 11 network marketing companies that approached me. 11. I live in Utah, the mega capital of the world of network marketing. So to talk about limiting beliefs, they were there for me. A little bit more about my story is when I started out in the network marketing profession is I quit way too soon. I quit my job because after I finally decided to join, after I finally took some action, my first check was pretty big. It was pretty big, actually. It was actually monstrous. It was massive, biggest check that I've ever received in my entire life, even bigger than I was running a tennis club. So I thought, oh my goodness, this is incredible. I'm going to Bora Bora. I'm retired, right? I confused the difference between bonus income and residual income. So I quit a 6-figure job. I was barely making $100,000 a year, which I thought was absolutely phenomenal. I did that from age 24 to 28. And then I quit that job like a complete idiot way too soon. And so my 5th month in the business, I made less than $400 for the month because my residual, was here. And my bonus, I didn't have bonus checks several of the months. I had to take a loan out on my paid off car. And I went into debt for the first time in my life. I'm not recommending anybody do any of this. This is just my story, so you know a little bit more from it. For me, I had to make things work because I quit a job way too soon. I had to turn those lemons into lemonade and make it happen. And so I did become the top recruiter out of 1 million distributors, which was absolutely a great experience. Now, when I tell you that, understand that I went through tons of highs. I went through tons of lows. That's why I share this with you. I shared some of the lows. Yeah, you're going to hear the highlight features of different things that I've done. But guess what? I had way more failures than I had successes. I truly failed my way forward, like they say. But yes, I became the #1 recruiter out of a million distributors. It created an entirely new brand for a $3 billion company. I became both consultant and top distributor for that. I built my business in 40 plus countries. So I know exactly what I'm doing. I know what it takes. I sold that position. I'm no longer part of any network marketing company. Now I'm here to build the trust with you. I'm 100% generic, where I can just level up this profession. And so, a couple different things with that for you to understand is, for me, as I was doing this business, I started out wanting to recruit the masses. And I wanted to do this with these personal recruits. And as I wanted to do this with these personal recruits, this is what I did when I first started. That's how I became the #1 recruiter. But when I transitioned to creating this new brand for a $3 billion company, I thought, you know what? There's got to be a way to create better duplication. Now, do not misinterpret what I'm saying. Too many times people use this as an excuse not to sponsor people. You have to sponsor people, a lot of people. This is how you're going to increase your skill set for the invite, the follow-up, the close. This is how you're going to increase your confidence. This is how you're going to hit new ranks. But as you do it, as you get better, you're going to get the newest person into action quicker. You're going to get more out of them. And that's what you want to do. You want to be the person that, you take a lemon and you can squeeze that lemon and turn it into lemonade. You don't want to be the person that just takes the lemon and you're like, I don't know what to do. And you squeeze it just a little bit, barely, and nothing comes out of it. So you want to make sure that as you're doing this, right, that it's something that you really, really got, just dialed in. And that's going to take some time for you. It's going to take some massive time and practice for you as you're really, really making this happen. So I just want to preface that before I talk about what happened to me. So as I'm creating this new entire brand, I got this huge list. I'm going to reach out to all these people. 6 months into the business, I had only sponsored one person. Now, that's the extreme. I'm not teaching you to do this unless you can get that newest person in action. I'm going to teach you some of the principles of how. These other leaders are going to teach you how, but it's not going to happen overnight. It's like having the blueprint for climbing the Mount Everest of network marketing. Even if you have the blueprint, it's still going to take some time. It's still not going to be easy. It's still not going to happen overnight, right? And so even if you have that blueprint, you're still going to have storms. You're still going to be exhausted. You're still going to have doubts. But at least now you got the blueprint. At least now you know exactly how to do it. And that's what we're going to lay out for you. And we're going to start out with that today. So after 6 months, I had millions of dollars of sales. And I only sponsored one person. Why? Because I knew working this business is talking to brand new people. And I did such a good job of getting the newest person to get me in front of new people and the next new person to get me in front of new people that I created duplication, that I was in the highest income producing activity. It wasn't easy. Now, fast forward, this is after I'd been in the profession and had made millions of dollars. I had created the credibility. I had worked for almost 4 years, 80 hours a week. I'm not telling you when you got to work 80 hours a week. I think I was ineffective a lot of those hours. But remember, I quit my job way too soon. I had to do it. I had to figure that out, right? I had to make that happen as we go. So that's just what, I know I covered that. That's just why I want to preface that and make sure you understand that as you go. But just understand, no matter how good you get, the other person still has a choice. Some will never engage, but our goal is to increase those percentages. So let's just think of it this way. If you have 10 people that sign up with you and you become just phenomenal at this, maybe you have 7 that get you in front of somebody else, right? And maybe your closing ratio of those people joining is 6 out of 10. Whereas if you're still learning and you're not as good, maybe only 1 out of 10 get you in front of somebody new. Frustrating. It's part of the process. We're going to help speed that up for you. And maybe of those people that get in front of you, maybe you only close 1 out of 10. So you see, nothing's foolproof. We're just increasing the percentages and odds for you. The other thing I want you to understand is every dud knows a stud. Now, I'm not judging them as human beings. Don't see Rob calling people duds. I'm not judging them as human beings. I'm talking about that person you love to death, but is the worst sales skill set in the world, right? I thought I was that person. I thought you had to be the person that just hard closed and sold people. And I didn't realize that everything in life is sales. You see my wife, she's 10 times better looking than me and a 10 times better human being than me and has a 10 times better body than I do. She's like there's Think and Grow Rich book. She's like the Think and Grow Ripped. She just looks at like weights and stuff and it's like just shredded, That's why if you see me like looking this way, if she's wearing Lululemon and I get distracted, it's because it's really hard not to look. Like, of course I was good at sales. I didn't think I was good at sales because I thought sales was convincing someone to do something they don't want to do. And it's not. Sales is communicating the information well enough people can make an educated decision. That's it. And that's what I'm going to help you to do. You're going to become that talent extractor. You're going to see people for the best. You're going to have people as they're going where they're going to be willing to get you in front of their people right away. And they're going to see that vision as they go. But there's a lot we got to cover. That's why we got to do this in 3 days. I thought about doing it in a half a day. It's just not going to happen. Like the amount of content we need. And then I thought about just me doing it. I'm like, no way, I'm going to bring these other legends because you got to hear different personalities, different styles, completely different perspectives. We got to focus on the mind. We got to focus on the systems. We got to focus on the skills. We got to focus on all of these different things as we go. Now, understand the law of credibility as well. And the reason why it's important to understand this law of credibility is as your credibility grows, you can say and do the exact same thing, but your results will increase. So you have to understand that. So even after you feel like you've arrived and you've got these skills and you've developed them, if you're whatever the rank is in your company and you're the triple blue star galactic double quadruple diamond, then if you say something versus the person that maybe has developed the skills but hasn't hit any rank, well, of course it's going to carry more weight, right? If I said something to you about investment advice versus Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, told you the exact same thing, I think you'd be like, oh my gosh, guys, Warren Buffett just told me. It would have way more profound effect. So the law of credibility is real. Even when you're learning what to do and how to duplicate, understand that it's still a process. Success is a process that's going to take time as we go. So the 4 beliefs that you first have to have, because the hardest person you're ever going to have to recruit is yourself. And if you haven't recruited yourself, how in the crap are you supposed to get the newest person into action right away? There's ways around it, but it's a lot harder. So the first belief you got to challenge is what's the belief you have in your products or services? On a scale 1 to 10, I would write these down. And these are trainings that you can take and utilize bits and pieces of these with your own teams. And I can't wait. Like we're gonna go through this. We got some legends that are gonna be training in between that are just absolutely phenomenal. And then later this afternoon, I am just gonna be doing, I shouldn't even say afternoon because who knows who's watching the replay and who knows who's watching this years down the road as we go. But later on, I'm going deep. Like this is just laying the foundation here. We're going really, really deep. You're not going to want to miss this. So the second belief is what's your belief in your company on a scale 1 to 10? The third belief is what's your belief in the network marketing profession? Think about that. On a scale 1 to 10, what's your belief in the network marketing profession? And then the last one is what's your belief in yourself? Now, if you don't have the belief in yourself yet, that's okay. You're going to borrow from these other 3. And then you're going to leverage the credibility of these other 3 and your leadership that you work with your team until you actually have that. It's going to take time. It doesn't just happen right away as we go. Yeah, I know. We got Australia. I saw the people signing up Australia, Canada, all over Europe, just insane. It's so fun to see. These beliefs aren't going to come overnight either. But if you can understand the basic principles of these, you can challenge them and figure out ways to help you to increase them, like doing trainings like these. Hopefully this helps increase your belief. So now we're going to get into duplicating and getting the newest person in action right away. So I said this at the very beginning, urgency is synonymous with wealth. This may be one of the most important things that you can write down and remember this. And what I want you to do is you take notes. As you take notes, anyone who's been to one of my masterminds, you know this. I teach this is I have you where, I should pull out one of my journals. See if we can find one of these. No, I think that's a planner. Maybe this is a journal back here. So what you do, this is the journal. What you do is, and you can do this with your own journals if you don't have one. So you see I got a bunch here. You've got what you're writing your notes on as you go. And then what you do is I have action steps here. These are the executables. So these are the things you're actually going to do. So you got tons of notes of good ideas and thoughts, but then to organize your thoughts, you're going to put your action steps. So at the end of this 3-day boot camp, what I want you to do is I want you to be able to take this and say, okay, this is the very first thing I'm going to do. This is what I do in my mastermind so that we actually get results. This is the second thing that I'm going to do. This is the third thing that I'm going to do. This is the fourth thing that I'm going to do. And you're going throughout all of these different things so that you're not just like, oh yeah, that was great. That was incredible, right? Good information. So the first 40 hours are critical. Why? Because what I found in my experience, and I actually just did a recent study, and this recent study said that it was from 6 and 7 figure earners. I've got a 6 and 7 figure earner group. There's over 1,000 people in it. There were 125 responses. And in that 6 and 7 figure earner group, I asked, how long did it take you to make your first $1,000 paycheck? And it was 47% made it in their first month. 75% in their first 4 months. What does this tell you? The top earners take massive action. Now, don't be like, oh, Rob, you just crushed my dreams. I've been in the business for 4 years and I've never had a $1,000 check. Stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. Jordan Adler, he was in the business for over a decade in 13 different companies or so. And now I think the dude's made over 20 or $30 million and he hadn't made anything. He didn't even make a $100 check. So stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it, okay? You're going to find everything I say of ways to rationalize why you're going to succeed, not why you're not good enough. I'm here to empower you that regardless of what's happened, this is what can happen. At the same time, I'm going to give you some tough love of things we can learn from. And so as you look at this, I want you to understand that the most successful top earners, the majority of them, they take action pretty quickly. And the reason why this is important to understand is because in the first 40 hours, if they don't do anything, guess what? Their odds of ever doing anything go like this. Like, I know those are bad sound effects, but just imagine complete implosion. Why? Because now all of a sudden it's like they talk themselves out of their dreams and why they can't do it and why, they're too busy and why they don't have the right style personality. I know, because I was one of those people. I almost quit before I even started. And so right when you start, you got to help get them into action right away. It's not the plan for the plan of the plan. It's not, I give an airplane analogy. I was going to give it later. I'll just give it now. Think of it as you're the pilot that's flying. That means you understand network marketing. We're using the airplane as network marketing. And you got co-pilot, it just joined you. And you're like, hey, co-pilot, come join me in network marketing. I'm going to teach you how. So they get in, right? They don't know how to fly the airplane. They don't know how to do network marketing. And you're like, hey, go watch this training of the training. And here's this training manual and good luck flying the airplane. And you get out. And then you reach out to them. Hey, anything you need, just let me know. They're thinking, I'm not going to fly this freaking plane. There's no way. And so you have to understand that you got to hold their hand at the beginning. And you got to build up their confidence because their confidence is extremely low when they start. They're just like, there's no way. I don't know how to do this. I can't do this. I can't make this happen. So stop with the vision statements. Stop with the why statements. Stop with the long intro videos. Stop with having to understand everything about the comp plan. Look, I'm not saying vision statements and why statements aren't important. Those things got me through. Those things helped me tremendously. But at the beginning, we were like, does your why make you cry? They're like, I just want to make my money back, right? And then we're like, hey, our comp plan pays 72.67 ways, and this is going to help you so much, right? And we're giving them all these reasons and all these things as they go. And guess what? They're like so overwhelmed. It's like going to the messiest kitchen ever that's going to take 8 hours to clean. It's so messy. It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. and we're like, hey, here's some help, like go start in the kitchen. You're like, you don't even know where to start. It's so busy. It's so messy. And so it's the same thing. Like they've got to have it so simple. What works is what duplicates. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication, is what Leonardo da Vinci says. And so you got to keep this so crazy simple that you can get the newest person into action right away. Okay. Hopefully this is making sense for you. So I know this is a lot of words. I probably should have created 2 slides full disclosure on this. So right now, they don't even know if it works or if they're still going to be a part of your business in a few days. Like this is what they're thinking in their minds, right? So yes, having a why is important, but wait, the newest person to understand the psychology is they just want to make their money back. Because if they made their money back, worst case scenario, they tell their friends and their family that said, I can't believe you're doing that pyramid scheme thing. If they just tell them, like, worst case scenario, they didn't fail, made my money back, but it didn't work for me, right? So understand that your whole goal at the beginning is to simplify the focus and stop with all this information. Now, there are going to be the know-it-alls. I'm not saying this in a rude way. Got some really close friends, crazy analytics. And if they need to know it, let them, great, give them the information. But I start out with saying, look, my whole goal is when you start is I want to help you to make your money back. And so we're going to simplify exactly how to do this. That is it. That is it. So just think about that as you're doing it. You're going to mirror them. This is the part of the way that you get the newest person action right away is, again, you don't want to overwhelm them. So there's some people that come in and they're like, I want to make $10,000 a month right away. I'm not interested if I can't make $10,000 a month. There's other people I want to make 5,000. There's the people like, I just want to make my money back. Other people, I just want to get my product for free, right? You've got to learn to mirror them. And how you learn to mirror them is questions are the answers. You got to ask the right questions, and this will help you out so that you can mirror them. And so it's just so important as you start to understand this really, really simple process. Now, some of them, they're going to end up increasing that speed from slow to medium to fast, right? But no matter how fast or slow they're going, what I do to mirror them is, an example here is, let's say someone wants to go really slow. They're like, hey, I'm crazy overwhelmed. That's their big objection. I really want to do this, but I work 40 hours a week and I've got kids to take care of and this and this. So I honestly, I only have 2 hours a week. I'm like, great. I love working with busy people. The great part is you get to leverage my time because we're doing this together as a team. So I'm going to help you out. We've got a system that will help you out as well. So we're going to build your business 2 hours every single week. And at the beginning, as we do this, instead of you focusing on trying to learn anything and everything, you know it works enough, right, that you're taking this leap of faith. And so what we're going to end up doing is we're going to end up just simply taking all of this right here, and we're going to help leverage your time. You're going to simply make the introductions, and they're going to introduce to whatever your simple system is. We're going to go over that here in a second. And so I simplified it for them, but it's like a rocket launching. It's got to spend a little bit more effort just at the very beginning. That's it. Just a little bit from the beginning. So that's absolutely critical important. Malaysia. It's awesome. I love seeing all these people from all over the world tuning in here. Lead through influence, not through title. They didn't sign up for a boss. It isn't about you. It's about them. At the same time, leaders take charge and tell people what to do, but not in a bossy way. So if they told me their goals are, I want to do this 2 hours a week, I want to be able to make my money back, I want to be able to make $100 a month, well, great. Then I'm going to tell them exactly what they need to do because I ask the right questions as I go. And so it's absolutely important for you as you make this happen. So it looks like almost everybody's got good service. I think if you have good service, it should work for you. If you don't, I apologize, but it looks like we're good on our end. I'm checking. It shows me. So we're good on our end as we go. A couple other things is how we focus on making their money back is talking to brand new people. It's the number one income producing activity. And too many times people, right, they want to do everything else. They want to feel like they're working so hard because think about this. This is the employee mindset. I want you to think about this. You've got to understand these things. They confuse being busy with being productive. Why? Because in a regular job, you work X amount of hours, you get paid X amount. Network marketing doesn't care. Network marketing's not like clock in. Hey, did you work 20 hours a week, or did you work 40 hours a week, or how many hours a week did you work, right? Network marketing isn't like that at all as you go. Network marketing is, what did you do? They want to know how they're going to be compensated as they go. Network marketing is not the old school mentality of employee mindset where they're confusing being busy with being productive. And so you have to understand this, because they're going to come in and they're going to do this checklist and they're like, I watched the complaint video, I watched this training, I watched all the products, I know all the company founders, and I've studied the website. And at the end of the week, they've worked 15 hours, but they haven't talked to anybody brand new. Working in network marketing is talking to brand new people. I want you to be effective with your time as you go, especially because most people are doing this very, very part-time as we go. So yes, quick reminder, the replay will be available for 4 days. So we will be sending this and people can go right away to the link and watch it as well as we go. So the other thing for you to understand is what I always teach people is good leaders have vision, right? They're committed. I'm never going to quit. I'm going to be here 5 years, 6 years, 10 years from now. It's good. You want to know one of the biggest difference between good leaders and great leaders? Great leaders know how to give vision. Think about that. Think about some of the greatest leaders there are and the vision that they cast, how they believe in others more than they believed in themselves. My mentor believed in me more than I believed in myself. And it's learning how to do that. And you're not going to know how to do that at the beginning. That's why you're going to focus as you're talking to brand new people. That's the best way to learn, because I always say training doesn't work, work trains. And some of you are like, Rob, you're a trainer. How can you say that? Well, of course, if you take training and you learn, and then it's action, 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 then you're following the la principle of learn, action, action, learn, action, action. Too many people are learn, 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 and then they're like a little bit of action. That's like saying I want to be a professional playing the piano. And what do? I go watch 1,000 hours of YouTube videos, and then I want to be great at it. If you haven't actually practiced it, you can't be great at it. So everything we teach you is to increase your focus, increase your belief, increase your mindset so that you do take more action, which will help you to increase your skills as you make it happen. Is this making sense so far? You guys have been really, really active in the comments, which I always appreciate. That's where we draw energy. It's like we first started out with virtual and lives and stuff. I don't know, it was like 5 years ago. It was so hard because you're used to a live crowd drawing energy from. Now it's you draw it from the comments. So always, always appreciate those comments. So we're going to hold their hand at the beginning and get them into action right away. But how we're going to do that is I teach principles because I know each one of your leaders and your companies are different. And so you're going to use your system, whether it's an ATM group strategy, whether it's a recorded Zoom, whether it's you're using a Zoom, whether you got live webinars that you're utilizing, whether you feel like you have a really, really good short video. I'm not going to go into that because I know each one of you is a little bit different. If you don't have one, here are some of the simple ideas to help you out. It could be you create your customer group, which I'll talk about here in a second. You could create your own market scripts. I'm not huge into scripts unless we're teaching principles because everybody's a little different. Here's a huge insight for you that we do in the online world that virtually nobody does in network marketing. Very simple way. You want to know the best script ever of all time? Here's what it is. Go create 2 of your own and go test them. And reach out to 30 people on the first one and reach out to 30 people on the second, see which one worked better. Get rid of the one that didn't work as well. Go do it again and again and again and again and again. You're going to create the world's greatest script ever specifically for you as you go. So again, if you don't have a customer group and you feel like that's your thing or your jam, or it's a Zoom or recorded Zoom or whatever it is, well, great. Go create it or go talk to someone about it. And yes, some of you may feel like, okay, customer group just doesn't work for me, or Zoom doesn't work for me, or maybe you need a little bit more leverage, or maybe you need to do it a little bit better, or maybe you need to have leaders that come and do it with you, right? There isn't something where it's just a one size fits all. Everybody just does this and this is how it works, because everybody is a little bit different. But the goal is to make it simple, because the newest person, they can't present, nor do they want to, and that's not duplicatable as you go. You need to give them a simple way to be able to invite their friends. So we got so much more to cover, but I got to make sure I stay on time. I got more to cover in this PowerPoint. I told you, this is just the warm up as we go, because we have I believe, one of the greatest mindset coaches there is. This is an individual, Deb Erickson, who I had heard about for years and years and years. And then I got introduced actually by $1 million annual earner at a big event to her really briefly. So I started spying on her, following all of her content. One of the things I love about her is the fact she's actually been in the trenches. So she's built it, and she's taking the mindset and applying as she went and learned it. And she was talking about this stuff before anyone else is, and how you actually can apply some of these mindset techniques to actually get results. And people thought she was crazy years and years ago, but she applies it to the network marketing side as well, because you and I all know mindset will eat skills and systems for breakfast. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my new friend here, Deb. She's just going to go through it, take it away. I don't want to take away any of her time. That's why I finished right on time for you, Deb. I'm like, I got more content. I'm like, nope, she's starting. So you guys make sure you give her some love in the comments, any of your greatest insights, because she can come back and she can check those out. Make sure you drop them in below. That's the greatest compliment we can give. None of these speakers are paid. They're coming out here and they're providing insane value for you. You're going to want to follow her on Facebook and Instagram. So I'm just going to take myself off here and just tune in, Deb, and just have you take it away. And I'm taking notes myself. I'm excited.
Oh, Rob, I adore you. And I am so excited that we are new friends. I had the same experience. I've been watching you for a long time. And I have to tell everybody who's here that, there are so many trainers, there are so many teachers, there's so many people out there that want to tell you A, B, C, D, here are the things you ought to be doing. And the truth is, I want to suggest to you today that you need to be extraordinarily insightful about who you open your mind to, because the truth is, this is a simple business. This is a simple business. There are just a few things that will get you to the top. The key isn't, right, can you do all of this list of complicated steps? The key is, can you move yourself into action? Can you follow the simple steps to success? And you know what? The truth is, the vast majority of people, the answer is no. They cannot keep themselves in action, doing the right things. In fact, I did an interview. I talked to 50 of the top global leaders in the industry. And I said, tell me why people are stuck. Tell me why people fail. And here's what they said. The number one reason people fail: they max out their mindset, right? They hit this level where they cannot go any further. And so what happens is, of course, that they want it. They know what they want. They know why they want it. They know how to get there. They've taken all the training. They've invested. They've talked to so many different people about how to get there. But the bottom line is, they're not moving forward. We interviewed over 500 top leaders globally, and they said to us that 99.9% of them said, I know I'm underperforming. I know I'm underperforming. And then we said, okay, tell us why. 97% of them said mindset. So we went back to those leaders and said, okay, all right, we get it. Mindset is the top blocker, right? The biggest stopper. What's next? And they said, people aren't duplicating. There's a whole reason you're here. They're not duplicating, number one, because of their mindset. But number two, they refuse to follow the simple tools and techniques that we've given them. They're not in action. The third reason that people tend to bump up against their stuff and stop is because they're doing too much of the wrong thing. Number four, they're not doing enough of the right thing. And number five, they have unrealistic expectations about how quickly they're going to get there. They have really a mindset of things should happen very fast and with a very small amount of activity. And so when we talk about duplication, you are so right on, Rob. Duplication, your vibe attracts your tribe. So you want to know what it is that you're duplicating. Look at you, right? Look at you first, because your energy, your mindset, your attitude, your work ethic, your belief, your core energy, that's what's duplicating or not duplicating in your organization. And so what I want to focus on today, I just want to talk a little bit about the biggest mindset blocker that keeps you from getting out in the world and duplicating the activity and therefore the results of top level leaders. And it's fear. So we talk about fear. Here's what neuroscientists tell us. Look, you are never going to eliminate fear. Fear will always be present because it's a neurological, right? It's a norm. It's part of the brain. There's actually a piece of the brain. It sits at the base of the brainstem, and it is always looking for anything that could create a threat in your life. It could be fear of loss, fear of success, fear of doubt, fear of hesitation, fear of failure, fear, you name it. We are afraid of everything because the number one biggest fear is fear of the unknown. In fact, Forbes did a interesting article on what is the number one indicator on whether or not people will be successful as an entrepreneur. And guess what they came up with? Number one is your ability to be comfortable with the unknown, your ability to face fear, your ability to take a risk. It's the number one indicator. And guess what you got to do in order to do that? You got to manage your mindset. And so as we think about fear, it's really fascinating. Fear gets triggered when the amygdala says, woo, there's something to be scary about, so when you pick up your phone and your brain says, ooh, I don't want to get rejected. I don't want someone to think I'm pushy. I don't know what script to use, like he was just talking about, right? So what happens is our heart races, the fear center gets triggered. And when your brain wave frequencies elevate and they're going faster and faster and faster because you can't catch your breath and your heart starts pounding, you start feeling anxious. When that occurs, you actually lose 50% of your ability to process, to think clearly, to make decisions. So what happens is the brain says, we don't want to feel that. So instead of calling right now, how about we do that later? So we postpone, we procrastinate, right? We avoid, we make excuses, we jump into the blame game. And by doing so, we train our brain that we can't do this. We create an I can't mindset, which becomes our block, right? Now, what's really fascinating is the fear center is getting triggered all day, every day, hundreds of times a day. The question is, how are you going to deal with it? So I'm going to give you a quick tool right here, right now. I want you to walk away with something in your pocket. So here's the first neuro tool, is that the best way to silence fear, believe it or not, deep breathing. It's really simple. So here's what I'm going to tell you. For fun, I want you to think about something that you need to do that you're avoiding. Maybe it's a call. Maybe it's going live, right? Maybe it's following up. Maybe it's training your team. Whatever it is, I want you to think about it for a second. And what we want to do is we want to give it a name, right? What is it? Do you know what it is? Is it fear of rejection, fear of isolation, fear of somebody thinking something negative about you? Whatever, if you can kind of name it, it helps. So then imagine that you know what that is. Let's just call it fear of rejection. And then you say, how big is it? On a scale of 1 to 10, how big is it? How much fear am I feeling right now? So close your eyes and just feel it and go, ooh, man, that's a 10. That's a 10. I can feel it. That's big. That's bold. That's bad. I just want to run and hide. Okay. So now that you know what it is and how big it is, what we want to do is just breathe. So close your eyes, take a deep breath in. If you have something like a mindfulness bell, it's powerful. You can just tap it, breathe into it. Always breathe in through your nose. I like to tap the center of my chest and say, be still now. And then release. And then again, breathe in again. Big breath in, guys. Come on. Breathe into the count of 8. And you can tap your forehead and say, be still now. And then breathe out. And as you breathe out through your mouth, you can just push it all out, release, relax. One more time, big breath in. Come on, big breath in. And you can tap both your chest and your heart center and say, be here now. And imagine that you're just pulling back all the energy. You're releasing all the fear, the doubt, the uncertainty, the unknown. Just let it all go and be present. And then ask yourself, Open your eyes and ask yourself, where's my fear now? I just notice. Just notice. If it is at least a 9, where it was a 10, and you took literally 60 seconds to breathe deeply, listen to something soft, it should tell you something. It should tell you that you can command the fear center. You can say, be still. And you're going to silence the fear for one purpose and one purpose only. Oh, sure, it feels good. But actually it goes back to what Rob said earlier, right? We need to move into action. It's a simple business. We know the answer. We need to be in action. And it's our fears and our doubts and our uncertainty that cause us to hesitate and pull back. So a couple of deep breathing moments, and guess what? You can step right into the next action. You guys got it? Excellent. All right, one more neuro tool. And that is this. As you listen to these amazing people who are going to be on here giving you tools and tips and training over the next 3 days, you got to stay open, my friend. You have to stay open. You have to keep your mind open. And the natural tendency, what neuroscience tells us, is the minute we hear something unknown, something new and different, something that lives outside of our set point, our frame of reference, our comfort zone, right? Our ceiling, call it anything you want. Here's the point. We live in a box. Your brain lives in a box. You guys see it? Everybody's brain has a boundary and has a box. And so whatever size box you have, that's the edge of your business. You can't out-earn your self-esteem. You can't out-earn your mental limits. You can't out-earn. You can't out-recruit. You can't outgrow the set point that your brain lives in. Because as you reach the edge of your set point, your brain goes, whoa, stop, come back. So do me a favor, draw on a little box right in front of you. Draw a little box, a little heart. Well, actually draw a box. And inside that box, just draw a little something that represents you. I like heart because that's energy. And inside that heart, I want you to write your current set point. And most people say, well, I don't know what my set point is. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Your current rank, that's your set point. The rank that you achieve month in and month out, kind of stuck there, that's your set point. I want you to write how much money you have in the bank. The set point, the norm of what sits in your account. Write it down, put it inside that box. And what about the number of people that you enroll on a monthly basis? Put it inside that box. Number of new people that you invite in to be customers. How many? Put them in the box. That's your set point. And so when you set a goal and you say, I want to rank advance, I want to grow my team, right? I want to move beyond. You need to know that what sits between that box where your heart and your soul and your passion, your drive and the what and the why of your business, they all sit in that side, that limit. And the goal always sits outside. And you know what's between? Fear. The fear of the unknown. And so what happens is as you move past the edge of that box towards the goal, your brain shoots off. Man, it is firing and wiring. And what is occurring in each and every moment is your brain is going, no, I can't move. I can't move past this. And that's where we begin to sabotage our business. That's when we tell lies about ourselves and our business. That's when we underperform. That's when we hold back. You guys got it? And so what I want to do with you today, I'm going to give you a second neuro tool. Now, neuro tools, guys, are just brain retraining tools and techniques that I've created to help you as a network marketer move, to get you moving. So you need to know this. When you're sitting in your box and you have a thought, it's going to happen today, tomorrow, the next day, through all of Rob's training. This is going to happen to you over and over and over and over again. He's going to give you a fabulous idea. And your brain's going to go, ooh, I don't think I can do that. I know that's outside my box. Oh, I just not sure I can do that, And your brain is going to discount incredible ideas that are being given by Rob and the rest of these speakers here. Your brain is going to negate it and say, it's not possible. It will never work for me. I can't do that. I'm afraid to try that. And in that moment, I'm going to ask you to just say, stop, man. Stop, 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 stop. Use it like this. I like to use the actual stop sign, but you can use your hand. Just pull your hand up in front of your face and go, stop. Stop it. This is the nonsense that has held you back. You guys got it? So we want to stop. It's called a pattern interrupt. But then this is the really important thing. You have a tiny little window to move into action. Most scientists say it's 3 to 5 seconds. 3 to 5 seconds. There's this tiny little window. When you get inspired, when there's a thought, when you have an aha, when you want to move forward, 3 to 5 second window. And if you move in that window, fear will stay silent. Fear will not be an indicator. It'll not be a mover for you. But if you wait too long, you'll get in your head. Fears and doubts and negative stories, they begin to overtake you, and then you're frozen and you want to run and hide and you resist. And then you have to use willpower and discipline to push yourself into action. It's kind of like you got to talk yourself into a frenzy and move into action. But if you act in that 3 to 5 second window, that golden window, the fear center is asleep. It hasn't woken up. It hasn't gotten a sniff or a whiff that you intend to go into action. And so if you move in that golden window, you're golden. It's kind of when people say, oh, I'm in the zone. It was easy. It was effortless. It just kind of was like magic. So here's the way you keep yourself in that zone. Okay. What I want you to do is take your right hand and I want you to put your thumb and your first finger together. We're going to create an anchor and you're going to say, I can achieve this goal. I can take this action. I can move past my fears. I can reach out, right? I can follow the sequences that Rob's giving me. I can. And then I want you to put your second finger and your thumb together, pinch them together and say, I will do what's required. I will face my stuff. I will step into action. I will do it. And I will do it now. I will. And then put your third finger, right, and your thumb together. And I want you to say, I am enough. I'm more than enough. I've always been enough. I can, I will, I am. And then make a fist and say, yes. That's your point where you move, right? I can, I will, I am. Yes, I can, I will, I am. Yes. Now, I got to tell you, this is a way to rev your energy, focus your attention on your anchor in your hand, right? On what you're saying and what you're feeling. What we're doing is we're getting ourselves, as Tony Robbins would say, you're getting yourself in state. You're elevating your confidence. You're moving yourself into a 10 in confidence. We're silencing fear and elevating. I can, I will, I am. Yes, I can, I will, I am. Yes. And as you do that, guys, you'll feel a shift of energy. And the moment you feel it, stand up and move. I will tell you, it doesn't matter where you are and what you're doing. I don't care. Get up and move. I tell people all the time that when you get ready to make your calls or you're going live or whatever it is you're going to be doing, use this little tool to anchor in power and positive action and then move. So as I get ready and I feel it, I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I know what that is. Stop. I'm not going there. I can, I will, I am. Yes, I can achieve this. I will do what is required. I am enough. I know who I am. I got this. Yes. And the minute I feel my energy elevate, boom, I take action. Now, I started this whole thing by saying, it's a simple business. It's simple. It's not always easy. And easy is when you've learned to master your mindset. Easy is when you know exactly what to do and you have silenced the fear center. You've kind of mastered that fear center and you can move effortlessly and easily. That's when you're in flow. Now I'm going to tell you that today and tomorrow and the next day, as you learn new things, as you begin to open up, you're challenging that set point and you're opening up your mind to new strategies to duplicate, right? New techniques. There's a part of you that will react from the past and it will cause you to close down and it'll challenge you and you will feel the fear rising. And in that moment, I'm going to give you this tool because guys, this is what you need to do in that moment. I want you over there, right? Doing your finger roll. I can, I will, I am. Yes, I can, I will, I am. Yes, I can, I will, I am. Yes. And imagine, even use your hands to just kind of open up the space where you are. Breathe deeply and anchor into your body. Be present. Be in the moment. Did you know that when you give unsolicited advice, it's received at about 1%? 1%. And when you want to learn, you either are teaching or as a student, you're learning. You're really only capturing about 20% of what's being said, what's being taught. But when you show up as a curious student, ready to discover, right? When you are in the discovery energy, you can retain 80% because your brain is absorbing and opening and ready to receive. So I'm going to challenge you to spend the next couple days absorbing, opening your heart and soul, breathing deeply, anchoring in the fact that this is pure gold. What you're going to get here in the next few days, this is pure gold. And if you want to change, if you want to up-level your business, you want to rank up, you want to duplicate, you want to attract, there's no better teacher on the planet than Rob. So, Rob, I tried to use exactly my time.
Hey, no, you're good. I want to stay on and ask a couple questions because, you saw me. I'm over here just taking a couple pages. I got my second page of notes right here. And I love how you just hit the fears head on and you talked about the simplicity because, think about it. If we didn't need, the reason why we need personal development is because of the fears that we have. But when we really break down the business, it's, if you talk to enough brand new people, you're going to get better at inviting and following up and closing and presenting, and you're going to break ranks and build that credibility. But because we don't, we have to constantly do this. For someone to, because I remember heard John Maxwell say this goes along with what you said. He said, the ability to learn how to learn is the greatest ability one can have.
Yep.
And that stood out with me for a decade because I always felt like I was a little guy growing up. Now I'm tall. I'm 6'1", maybe 6 feet, but guys round up. So I'm 6'1". And plus, you played basketball, so I want to feel taller in that sense. Even you were probably a point guard, right?
I was.
Yeah, see, I knew. I could tell. I could just see you orchestrating the offense. I was scared to ask that, but I kind of knew. So for me, right, I had all these, limiting beliefs growing up, and we all do to different extents. I think that's pretty normal. What would you say, like maybe some ways that someone can become more of a curious student, or a way that someone can increase their ability to learn how to learn? If they say, well, I want to, that's obviously one of the first steps, of course. But what are some ideas or thoughts you have for somebody to be able to absorb, right? Become even more of that sponge so that they're not just watching or listening for 3-4 hours, not even just this training, in general.
Right. Doubt is one of the greatest liabilities, doubting your ability, but doubt can be one of your greatest assets to break through. So let me tell you why I'm saying that. That we are always so certain, I can't do this, I'm no good at that, I'll never be able to. And that does all come from our past. That is programmed in the first 7 years of life, that certainty that we can't. And the truth is, if you can chop off the legs of certainty, right? If you can question that core belief that says, oh, I just know I can't do that. If you can just do this little thing, which is, it's the tiniest little doubt, right? It's that thing that goes, what if that's not true? What if I really could do this? What if it's actually possible and I just never tried? What if somebody was lying to me? What if people who loved me and were trying to protect me told me things to keep me safe, but actually it's limited my life? What if it isn't true? What if it's really possible? So I love to what if. I what if the heck out of anything where I feel certain that something isn't going to happen or that I can't do it. I will just keep what ifing. And what it does is it rattles that certainty that I'm absolutely positive I can't do something. And all of a sudden it's like, well, maybe I could do it. Maybe it's possible. Maybe people lied to me. Maybe I bought a story that just isn't true. Maybe, right? And it's just enough to open the door to try on something new. And so I love to always to rattle doubt, to rattle that any negative emotion at all, man, I'm going to get in there and I want to do a number on it and create a lot of what ifs to see if I can open up the possibility of something more.
Yeah, I love that. That helps me a lot. I didn't understand that, things that you did. And we talked about our sports analogies. When I played semi-professional tennis. And when I got to the point I understood that, I can definitely lose, but in the end, I really want to win. But if I lose, it's not the end of the world. It was so much easier for me to face the doubt as like a positive, right? Pressure is a privilege, as Billie Jean King says. And so that helped me. And I wrote down a couple other things that I'll go through quickly. And we've got a couple minutes, 5 minutes, 4 minutes. But my kids, I just hired maybe it was 2 months ago, a sports psychologist is what about for tennis. And I think it's a lot more than just tennis. For me, it's going to be bigger. And one of the first things she did is she talked about how every time you have a negative thought, you need at least 3 positives to overcome it, at least minimum. Mm-hmm. And she had them create a power statement. So when you were going through this, I'm like, this is so, when you talked about your anchor, and she said, look, and she went through it. In tennis, the most dominant season of all time was probably about 8 years ago by Novak Djokovic, and he won 56% of his points in the most dominating year of all time. 56%. Wow. And so the sports psychologist is like, you can't afford to going down this path where even if it affects you by 1%, that's the difference between a match or not. So they had to create this power statement for a full week, and they're very simple, very, very short, so that when they do have those negative thoughts, they've got an anchor, as you called it, to snap out of it. And so I love how you said, I can, I will, I am. And then after, it's powerful of just yes, right? Do you encourage them, or obviously it depends on where they're at. Do you encourage them to say it out loud? Just, do it as many times as they need every single day.
Right.
Just the stuff like that to help them.
Absolutely. When you do stuff out loud, obviously you're adding kind of the auditory energy, and it usually amplifies. It amplifies energy a lot. So if you're alone, but I have to tell you before I go on stage.
We'll do it when you're at work. We love it. Just video it for us. Create a TikTok, Send it to us.
All right. I'll do that. When I'm waiting on stage, I'm waiting, sometimes beside the edge of the stage, I'm doing it there. Right. And if you don't want anybody saying, you put your hand down by your side. Right. But what you're looking to do is anchor a repetitive statement, a repetitive physical touch, a repetitive elevating of your energy. What happens is the brain says, I know this. I've done this. I've practiced this routine. That's why you see every basketball player ever has their own routine before they shoot a free throw. They're going through their mental and psychological and physiological anchoring. They're putting the pattern together so that their body goes, oh, I know what I'm supposed to do right now. And the same thing is true in business, right? We need to get ourselves into success habits and patterns so that it's easier to, when fear and doubt show up, and they will, I mean, don't beat yourself up. Just go, oh, there it is. There's fear. Oh, there's doubt. Oh, there's that voice, right? And as we recognize it and begin to blow it off faster and faster and faster, what happens is we aren't devastated by it when it shows up. It's just like, oh, there it is. And then I'm going to move forward. So your anchors remind your brain, your body, your energy, which way to turn. In basketball, if you dribble right up to a defensive player, one of the things you got to do is pivot, right? So the ball is not exposed. And the same thing is true with mindset. If you dribble right up to a negative emotion, yes, we want to stop that negative emotion. We don't want to continue to move into it. But then I like taking my left hand and I push my face, turning the other direction to remind myself, Erickson, time to pivot, right? Let's think a different thought, because the old patterns and habit are so deeply entrenched. We go there so quickly, but that's the beautiful thing about this industry. What I love most about our industry, guys, is that we get the opportunity dozens of times a day to overcome our past and to step into more. And these are the tools that do it.
100%. And I love that because it just makes it where stop feeling that there's something wrong with you and you have the doubt. It's part of the process. It's how you utilize it. It's just the same thing with shame and guilt, right? Guilt is, and I go in depth on this in my masterminds, but guilt's a good thing because without it, you don't know right from wrong. Shame is where you turn it into too much guilt, where you feel like you can't do anything and you don't take action. But our goal is to help you so that you can get the right mindset, because otherwise, if you keep increasing the skills, right? I've seen it with all these kids that I used to work with for tennis, which, by the way, I'm coaching high school tennis for free 6 months of the year now for my kids. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited about that. But with it, the problem is they keep increasing their skills with these private tennis lessons, and they don't have a sports psychologist. Like, I played so bad. I'm like, when does bad become normal when you say it every single time you play? So that's why it's so important. It starts here so you can unlock everything else you're going. So last thing, and then we get to go to our next incredible speaker. Deb, where can everyone find you? I know your company's I Can Institute. I know that you're on Facebook, you're on the gram, you're all over the place. You're providing insane content and value and all that good stuff. So where can everybody find you?
You know what? The best thing they can do is go to icaninstitute.com. And look for the free stuff, guys. Just like you, Rob, we give away a ton of stuff there. You know, there's a free app, there's free neurotools. Go start there and play around with really trying on a new mindset, the mindset of a champion.
I love it. Well, let's drop some emojis in the comments below, some appreciation, some thank you. There's a ton of comments already. I know you can go back and check those out. Thank you so much, Deb. I appreciate you and your time. And we're definitely going to have you on again. We're going to talk more mindset and get things into action. So we have got another incredible speaker. I saw you over there stretching in the background. You were just
I was like rolling my neck
ready
around.
for the big boxing match. Let's go. Let's make it happen. Right? Well, it's been fun to watch your journey. I've been able to watch it just from more online the last year plus. And then, of course, we got to hang out at the mastermind. And you can tell everyone a little bit. We had the 6 and 7 figure earner mastermind. And this incredible legend here wasn't sure if she was worthy, which is just stupid because she's absolutely slaying it right now, smashing it. So she was a little bit quiet. And I got to go to dinner with her and several of her friends at that 6 and 7 figure mastermind. And it's been fun. You just kept it going and make it happen. So tell them that real quick. Cause I think it's important to understand because people think these top leaders, right? We don't have any fears, and we just talked about fears, and we don't have any concerns or anything like that or limiting beliefs. And so just tell them that real quickly, and then I'm going to let you go straight in your training, and I'll take myself off here in a minute.
I cried the first 2 nights I was there. I left the trainings. Well, the first night, I don't even think I made out the doors. Poor Nadia. She caught the brunt end of my tears. But then the second night I went home and I called my husband and I was like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like not that the leaders ever made me feel any kind of way, not that the content, they were the things that they were doing, the things we were talking about, the conversations that we were having, the things I was learning. I just felt like there was the keys I was missing. Like it was everything that I needed to go to the next part, that I was literally getting to learn from people in every different all of these different companies, different company styles, be it, industry wide, like the products they were selling or the way that they sold the products. It was so incredible. The connections that we made. I mean, some of my great friends, like it was, I learned all about TikTok, and look at me now on TikTok, 30 something, almost 40K followers. Like,
isn't that crazy what you've done? And it's just so fun. And
And
the
that was
thing
only
is
a couple months ago too, right? Like March.
just barely.
Yeah.
And we got the next one here coming up here, Marco Island, which will be fun. But it's just we're always learning. We're always learning. We always, right? It's the whole new levels, new devils. We all have different fears. It's just part of the process as we go. So don't feel overwhelmed as any of you hear this content. That's why I said create your action steps, your executables. Like I've got right here in my journal, right? Action steps. What I'll do is I'll organize from the other pages of notes, and I'm going to create the things that I want to take into action. But I wanted to bring on different legends and superstars and different personalities and styles and different trainings as well, because this is how we learn so much as we go. What's up, Judy? Yeah, we got Andrew, got a couple masterminders as we go. So I'm going to take myself off so I don't waste any of your incredible time here. You're still good to go for 20 minutes, and then I'll get on and ask you a question the last minute or two. So you're good to go. Don't worry about time.
Okay, great. Hi, guys. My name is Kagan Parker, if you don't know me. I have been in this industry for about 4 years. I have the pleasure of calling Rob Sperry my coach, one of my mentors. He really did change my life just a few months ago, and I know that we're just scratching the surface of all of it. So when he asked me to pick a topic, setting expectations just seemed, it like literally jumped off of the page at me. And then, well, listen, I need to open this training up with a story about my feisty Nana, because she drove this baby blue Pontiac Thunderbird. And I don't know if you've ever seen the trunk space in a Pontiac Thunderbird, but there's not a lot. And something else that you also need to know about my Nana is that when she got her mindset on something, she didn't wait for it to happen. Like, she didn't wait for other people to help. She didn't wait for, like, she just did it herself. She made it happen. Well, this spring, she drove that little Thunderbird down to Lowe's and made trip after trip after trip, loading her trunk up with pavers to build her a little sitting area under her favorite tree for her, her best friend Olivia, and her four-legged baby Bo. When my Aunt Tracy called her to check on her mom and heard the story about this paver situation and how her little Pontiac was so weighted down she wasn't sure the front wheels were touching the pavement, she scolded my 84-year-old Nana for doing that all by herself, for not waiting. And my Nana's response was, yeah, they sure were heavy, but I don't need your help. I don't need any help. So this morning we said goodbye to my Nana for the last time. And I've almost canceled on Rob like 4 times. I've almost canceled on this like 4 times, but I couldn't. Because as I listened to my daddy and my aunt, my uncle, and all of our extended family trade stories about her today, there were 3 themes that kept reappearing through each story. And the first was her commitment and her determination, because her commitment to her husband, sorry, give me just a second, who passed away in 1993. I was 2 years old, okay, 1993, that she was reunited with 10 days ago. And her determination to raise her 3 children to be strong, good Christian people who kept their promises, because in the end, all you have is your name, and broken commitments always ended up in spankings. You can just ask my dad about it. So that's why I'm here with you, because my name and my commitment to you is something my Nana is proud of. The second theme that we kept seeing, that we just kept coming on, you know, through the tears, got these bubbles ups of laughters, because she was such a fun-loving, good-natured trickster. And I really hope that I get to carry that with me and through to you in these next 20 minutes. And the last was that she was a hard worker, but she was not a good hand. She liked the projects done to her expectations and would not stop until it was through. And I hear this saying in my daddy's voice, but I know he says it with her inflection. And he says, nobody rises to low expectations. So as we get into the content of setting expectations, I want you to visualize that Pontiac Thunderbird loaded down with pavers And each paver being a piece of wisdom you can give to your new hungry teammate to build them a solid foundation in this business and a solid foundation in themselves as a network marketer. Because you and I know that this is not the easiest career path, right? It's easy to get into, but their journey with you as their mentor is going to be filled with no's, lack of belief, small minds. And when we give them the pavers to overcome those trials, they will not falter. And instead, they will duplicate faster and better than we ever have or we ever expected. Exceptional leaders are fearless in setting expectations with clear language. And while I can't give you the language because our businesses are so unique from each other's, I can give you the paver for you to load in your trunk. So now, where do you start with your new team member on expectations? First, you have to know their goals, because like, what is that monthly dollar amount they need from their business, and what time frame are they hoping to achieve that dollar amount within? But the most important question is definitely how much time and effort are they willing to put into their business daily to reach that goal? And once you know those answers, you can start with the amount of work that a new networker has before them as they're laying their foundation, right? And so this is going to vary based on their experience, their social media presence, and network. But the MMAs, or money-making activities, I learned that a couple of weekends ago when I had my leaders in my house. We've always called it IPAs, income-producing activities. And one of my leaders, her name is also Kagan, she said, I call them MMAs, money-making activities. And I said, I like that better, so we're rolling with it. But it doesn't matter, because the money-making activities that we all do are pretty much the same, right? Posting on social media, making new friends, providing value, following up, building relationships, having conversations, exposing people to products and the business. Those are the basics of networking, of network marketing, especially social selling. But then you also add in your specific companies or teams, basic MMAs on top of that. So a specific part of this section that I like to drive home the most is that posting on social media is less than 1% of our job, right? Or insert your field here, right? I'm in a social selling company. So you can't just post and pray. You can't just put a flyer up and pray. You can't just put an ad somewhere and pray, right? 99% of your income will be made through the other MMAs, those back end, the ones that not everyone sees. We all have had someone in our business say they're doing everything and getting no results, when in reality, they're just posting on Facebook to their 200 Facebook friends and waiting for one of them to message that person about it, right? So they're posting, they're praying, and just waiting, putting a post up and waiting, thinking that someone's going to message me and I'm going to make a sale today, versus doing those other MMAs that would get them the exposure and the sales that they're craving. So when we have someone like that, we know that we did not set clear expectations with that person on what being a networker really looks like. So helping them set realistic minimums, helping your new your new team member set realistic minimums for each task to fit their time allotments is huge. Someone with a full-time job trying to make their side hustle plan A's minimums are going to look a lot different than someone just trying to earn their products for free. So make sure you're clear with them on not only how to do the task, but why they are doing each task and how it is going to lead them closer to that dollar amount goal. Okay, so the next expectation to set is the no. And the no's will come from everywhere, right? Their friends, their family, the no's from their ride or dies who they just knew was going to be all on board and super supportive. We know that in the beginning of our business, it's not no forever. And believe it or not, it's actually really not no, not right now. It's no until you make it worth it. No until you make me believe it. So as a new networker with no experience, no testimony, and little knowledge on the product or even less about the industry, how can they possibly have a vision to cast to others about the product or business to make them believe in it? So the answer to that is through you. The best expectation you can set with them is to lean on you. Build belief in them that you are available, you're willing, and you are able to help them overcome their loved ones' expectations and or criticisms via hands-on learning situations like three-way chats or calls where they can tag you in and watch while you discover their prospects' pain points or needs, and you can show them how to provide solutions that solve those pain points or needs. Doing this helps them not only get immediate wins, if you're any good, but it also provides incredible learning opportunities for that new team member and with the people that could be the hardest sells in their network. No, sorry. Sorry, I have notes because it's been an emotional day, but doing this helps them not only get immediate wins, if you're any good, but it also provides incredible learning opportunities with the people that could be their hardest sells if their network is anything like mine. Now, the third expectation is money. A new person in your business needs to know how much they're going to get paid for each customer or team member they acquire. Period. They need to understand how they are getting paid so they do the actions, right? I'm not saying we need to be able to calculate their checks down to the penny, but they should know that their first customer, what they will earn off of them, right? Commissions percentage or whatever of that sell, and their first team member's purchase will earn them X deposit plus X percentage as that team member grows. I had a team member my first year in network marketing that joined my business and took off like a rocket. I was so excited about her. She sold over $1,000 worth of product her first month, and I was so excited about her possibilities and her futures. But when she received her commission statement, she quit. Never mind that she thought she should have made 100% of her commissions. Her quitting boiled down to ignorance. She didn't understand how she was making money, and I didn't understand how to tell her. If you want to be a leader in this industry and truly build residual income, then you need to be able to show your prospects or your new team members where they can find the compensation plan and how they can earn their first $500 in their business. Because you see, she taught me one of the most important lessons I've ever learned as a leader. She taught me the compensation plan. Because had I have known how to show her how to hit her $1,000 income goal, she wouldn't have just sold $1,000. She would have earned $1,000. And who knows where she could be now in this industry. So the last expectation I want to talk to you about is yours. Because you've brought somebody into your business and you've given them all of the pavers above. You've loaded their trunk and you've made sure their gas tank is full of belief. Now it's time. Now it's up for them to unload and build their foundation. No amount of micromanaging, bugging, tagging, checking on them will make them successful or unsuccessful if you do the counterpart of that, right? You're not their boss and you're not their crutch. It is not up to you if they succeed or fail. One of the reasons why I got into this industry, and I'm sure a lot of you can say the same, is because I could work when my children were napping and I was my own boss. I set my hours, I set my tasks, I set my minimums. If I would have had an upline that messaged me every day asking when I was going to post or how many conversations I had that day, I literally would have ran away screaming. So you have to release any expectation you have of your new team member and what they should be doing. When or how they complete their MMAs, if they show up or plug into trainings, etc. It's not your responsibility. Actually, you want to know what my upline did before she disappeared? She connected me to the tools. She showed me where I could find trainings. She plugged me into her leaders. She showed me where the announcements were. She helped me build my first information script, right? My first sales script. And then she blocked me because I outgrew her. But all of that to say, it is your responsibility to lead. Find or build the tools, show them how to use them, give them pep talks and incentives along the way. But at the end of the day, you can't want their goals for them and will it into existence. Either they will or they won't. And as long as you were there when they needed you, you did enough. So that's what I've got for you guys on expectations. Rob, are you still here?
I'm here. I'm just taking notes. Like, I love It's funny at the end when you're like, and then you outgrew her and she blocked you.
He blocked me.
She just blocked you. Isn't it just crazy, the egos that get involved as we go? But, some of the things I wrote down that I think are so important is at the end where you just said, you're not their boss. And one of the things I was thinking about was, imagine if you were making, let's just say, an insane amount of money, for example's sake, okay? If someone's making $1 million a year, would you be calling your good friend Susie, who's done nothing for 3 months, and texting her every day, hey, Susie, did you invite somebody today? Hey, Susie, how can I help you? Hey, Susie, did you show the product to anybody? Hey, Susie, how many people did you invite to the Facebook group? Right? You wouldn't. So you have to think of, how would the $1 million version, now I know a lot of people are tuning in, my goal isn't $1 million. I know I'm giving exaggeration example, so it stands out. But if you, whatever your goals are, whether it's get your product for free, $100, $500 a month, $1,000, $5,000, $50, it doesn't matter, whatever it is, we're just trying to help you to get it faster and do it the right way. And so I love how you just gave that permission of just release the expectations. You don't want anyone telling you what to do every second, and you can't want it more for them.
Right.
And if you're climbing, right, the Mount Everest of success, you can't, and I gave this as the example earlier, and I'll go more in depth on this here a little bit later, but you can't put someone on your back. I don't care how good you are at climbing. You can't put someone on your back and say, hey, let's go climb this. Or just keep pulling them on this journey, right? Like, let's go. You can help them. You can cast the vision, as Kagan talked about so many times. But in the end, your goal is, the whole cliche quote is, to find more motivated people rather than to motivate people. Now, there is a little bit of motivating, of course, as we become good at casting vision. That's part of it. But I just love how you laid that out. So how would you extract, when you say find their goals? I talked a little bit about mirroring people. When in the process would you typically, and I know it can be different, but when would you typically ask some of those basic goals for them, and how would you go about that? So if we're kind of like role playing here, right? And I'm just starting, or I'm about to start here, sign up. And again, I know that it's always can be a little bit different because sometimes it comes up earlier or later, but let's just go through maybe an example to give people a fake little role play here.
Okay. I like to do this in the prospecting part of this. Like when somebody comes to me asking about the business, I immediately go, well, like, why would you want to do this? What makes you think you can do this? Okay, great. That's why you can do that? Or no, what makes you think that you'd be good at this?
And what if I say, well, I'm not really sure if I'd be great at this because I'm an introvert and my idea of a party is going to a completely opposite side of the room and sending an emoji. So do you think this is a good fit for me?
Listen, Rob, my business is a little bit different, right? Because I make more off of my customers than I do that specific type of team member. So I love my customers right where they're at. And that would be a conversation about, well, I don't know.
But I think that's important.
Yeah.
Because first off, customers are most important. Second off, you just said something right there. This is important for you guys for duplication. Is love them where they're at. The worst thing you can do is try to force them. And she just said, I don't know. And then she'd probably ask questions, simple questions of, well, you feel that way because of an introvert. If it's not for you, that's fine. But we actually have a lot of people. It's different than you think. We have a system that's super simple.
Yeah, I mean, I would have said, like, is that something that you want to continue doing? Like, is that a habit that you want to continue being? Or do you want to be known more as an influencer or, whatever? Like, I would start digging into, again, back, why do you want to do this? Because I think that's important to identify. One, so that way, when you start telling them about those MMAs and that this is actually a job and not a get rich quick scheme, they already know why they want to do this. So they're willing to do the task.
Yeah. And I love that you're asking more questions and you're truly influencing rather than trying to sell. Because I think, And I know everything's sales. We've talked about that. But I just mean the connotation of how we typically think people sell, of convincing people to do something they don't want to do. I love the fact that you just said, you know what, like this may not be for you, but then you're just asking questions, because this keeps it more conversational, people. Like if you're doing such a good sales job of convincing, yes, there's a difference between asking the right questions and maybe they got a limiting belief or maybe they have an objection that isn't true. But our goal is just to communicate that information well enough that they can actually make that educated decision. And if you truly love on them, like Kagan can go back to her customers, say, look, you've loved this product so much. Are you interested in sharing it with some people and getting your product for free?
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of people miss that boat. And when you're going to ask them as far as some of the other expectations, just time, are you just going to ask them directly right before they start, or same thing in the prospecting, or when you
I do that in prospecting, right? When I'm asking, so it's an interview process, but it's not them interviewing me. It's me interviewing them, right? I'm a busy mom of two. I have a massive organization and a 3 times bigger amount of customers. You have to make me want to work with you before I'm going to send you anything about signing up with the business. And I think that no matter what your business looks like, if you kind of posture yourself that way, you will close customers and team members 1,000 times higher ratio than what you're currently closing them at. So I posture myself and I ask them, like, why do you want to do this? How do you want to do this? What do you think this looks like? Okay, great. How much money how much money are you hoping to earn out of this, right? I usually it's like how much money would make it worth it. But again, like posture, how much money do you want to earn out of this? And if they give me some number that is, a couple, like $5,000, like that's not something that a lot of people can do their first month, right? No. I earned $1,800 my first month, and I think I was working like 18 hours a day. It was different though. Back then. So then I ask them, okay, well, how much time can you allot, and how much effort are you going to give to your business daily, right? Because if you've given me a number, I help you set realistic, what are we going to do in our first 30 days? Now, how much time can you give me to accomplish that number? And so, yeah, I think it's important that you let them have that big number, right? So if somebody, like if Rob was to say, I want to earn $5,000, Kagan, I'm going to go, okay, great. That's our 90-day goal. So let's break that down. What are you going to earn your first month, right? What do you think you can do in these first 30 days? And then we go from there.
Yeah. And I like how you're getting them into action and you're simplifying everything. Last question. I know a lot of people have imposter syndrome at different levels, especially, right? You're like,
here we go again.
There we go, right? When you say the word posture, if I start out and I haven't had any success yet, I don't want to feel like a fake, but I want to posture because I know the importance of it. And I'm excited to dive into this topic here, and I'll dive into more of it right after. But I want to hear your take on someone that I know you've dealt with some imposter syndrome. We all have. On how can someone posture when, for example, if I came to you, I'm like, and my average check is $100 and I've been doing this for 3 years and everybody knows I'm not very successful. How am I supposed to posture? Like, I just don't want to be fake. And of course, you're like, well, we never told you to be fake. What do you say?
I think that has to go back. So for me, I had to go back to the drawing board. What did I want my business to look like? And then I had to start doing the task that I saw myself doing with my ideal business, right? And so for me, guys, if you are qualified to go to this mastermind in Marcos Island, you need to do whatever it takes to get there. I'm not blowing smoke up your bum. Like, you can scroll through my Facebook and you can find the post. Like, it was everything for me. Getting to sit in that room with literally being the underpaid person in that room and listen to these people who have built these massive organizations and who have done the things that I want to do, talk about the way they utilize different systems in their business, different people in their business, different things, different businesses, right? I can show you my notebooks. Actually, they're right here. It's right here. It never leaves my desk. And it's just full of notes and notes and notes. And so I sat down with this. I started figuring out, what is my business going to look like? Okay, well, if you've never earned more than $100 in a paycheck, what are you really doing with your business, right? So I guess that's kind of where it goes to. And are you trying to build or recruit people that only want to earn $100 too, or are you trying to recruit other Kagans and Robs? Because Kagans and Robs have different conversations than what you're currently having. So you have to go back to the drawing board, I think, with that.
Yeah. And that's where you got to really challenge, right? In the Breakthrough Mastermind, which anyone who's serious can qualify for, it's not based off income. And we'll do that one in Marco Island right after. We talk a lot, and Andrea knows this, and a couple others that have been chamois on it, that have been to the Breakthrough, is the question I ask is your why a lie? And that for people are just like, I'm like, well, yeah. You tell me how deep and how big your why is. Are your actions matching your why? And for some of you, you're like, Rob, stop looking at me. I'm not looking at anybody. You're like, you just stabbed me. I'm so sorry. But I mean, think about it. And I'm going to give you some questions to ask yourself and some more techniques and strategies. But Kagan, especially with what's gone on in your life and everything, we would have been totally understanding if you couldn't have joined us. But of course, we're extremely grateful that you did. I love your raw personality. And she's the one that's like quiet in the meeting. But I told her, I'm like, you can tell she's got the feisty sassiness, which I love. It's so fun and spunky. Her upline leaders, Amber, was saying, oh, you watch this one. She's spunky, right?
I'm trouble for sure. But you guys, it's so important that you take those same expectations, especially if you feel like you're struggling with your business and you turn around and you start asking yourself those same questions. You start building those pavers, building those systems, building those trainings, even if you don't have the team yet, because as soon as you do, you will immediately start duplicating faster. So really, Rob, thank you for having me. It was an honor. When you asked me, I was like, me? Like me? He wants me to do this? And then everything happened with my Nana, unfortunately, and my other grandpa's in the hospital, but there's no way I was missing this. My Nana would be so mad at me if I would have canceled this because of her. No way. So I wouldn't have missed it for the world.
Well, I appreciate you being on, and I just love hearing these different personalities and ways, because you never know which training is going to connect with all of you. So make sure, where's the best place to follow you, Kagan, on your name, obviously on Facebook, and what about Instagram?
Instagram, Hey Kagan Parker, and TikTok, Hey Kagan Parker.
Hey, Kagan Parker, growing that TikTok like crazy. Good work. Well, thanks so much for coming on, friend, and I appreciate you. And we're gonna keep this fun stuff going. This awesome just insights and perspective. And I told you I'm gonna dive in deeper here, and then after that we will have another legend come on to finish the training as we go. And we still have 2 more days of training, which is absolutely phenomenal. Remember that we are going to have 4 days of this replay to be available for all of you, which will be pretty cool. And I'm going to dive into this, and I'll give you guys a couple reminders. I think the only people that know about this are the people that are the speakers, but I'm going to show you guys something right before we go on this. You guys are going to be pretty excited here. Let's see if I can find this. Got this here. I'm going to screen share this for you guys before we go on this duplication strategies, as I've got all these crazy, you guys should see the notes I have before I go on this. Besides all the notes I've taken, these are the notes for me of things that I want to cover. And that's not even the PowerPoint stuff that we started going over. I'm like, yeah, but I'm trying to simplify it for you so you don't get overwhelmed. Check this out. Are you guys ready? Are you ready? This is going to be pretty cool. Check this out here. We have got this incredible 3-day virtual event that's going to be coming here in September. And it is going to be phenomenal. Look at these guest speakers. Are you kidding me? We've got almost 40 guest speakers of the best in the entire profession. We got a couple of people outside of the profession. Cass Martin, one of my good friends from growing up. She's the #1 Zumba instructor in the world, like huge influencer. Sean Whalen, we've known each other for like 15 years. Lions Not Sheep, and you guys have heard of him. And then, of course, we got I'm not going to start naming names, all these incredible network marketers because I'm going to miss them. But this is just craziness. Well, those of you that joined last time, we did it at $77. And then after that, once it went live, it was like $400. So there was the early bird. Well, this time I'm doing it different because for me, it's like the point in my career, it's more fun, like just going even more impact and more people and stuff. So it's $37 right now. That's it. If you're watching this live, if you're watching the replay, you're watching this years down the road, sorry, you missed the boat, but all good. So this just gives you guys a little bit of it, and you guys will get more details on it. But we're going to have the themes throughout. We're going to focus on mindset. We'll focus on leadership. We'll focus on the skills and the strategies and social media for it. You know that I don't have any leaders waste time. They go in and they spend, most of the trainings are just 18 minutes because I'm like straight to the point, guys. We want next one. We want to absorb it. They go together. We got a bunch of people that are actually coming live into the studio that I rented out for it. So this will be like nothing you've seen before. I don't know another event that's had this many phenomenal guest speakers, like not one, and I know them all. So I'm pretty excited about this. But yeah, Todd Falcone is part of this. A bunch of them. Aaron's tuning in here. He's one of the guest speakers. Judy is. We got like, who else? I don't know. Maybe I'm just throwing out names as we go. We just got incredible peeps as we go about this. So, yep, Tracy, anyone you recognize, let me know. So maybe someone put in the comments, but if you go to www.virtual.robsperry.com, I'm not even starting ads on this for like a week. That's how this is like the super duper way too early bird special for this specific event as we go. So tag some team members. You can let them know. If you share it, let me know. Yeah, Fraser keeps texting me in between this. He's like, how's it going, mate? So yeah, these speakers are, I think this is the best lineup I've ever seen. So maybe I'm biased, but we chose the best. That's what we do. All right. We'll come back to that. We'll show you guys. But thanks, Andrea. That's it. All right. So let's focus. Let's have some fun here. All right. I do have the questions I'm going to answer. But I want to get through some content first, and then I'm going to use the questions once I get through a lot of content and as things flow. So don't think I'm not going to answer the questions, whether it's later today or tomorrow. I will get to as many questions as I possibly can. So if you're in the Facebook group and you go to the post itself, make sure you keep adding to those questions, and then I'm going to take them. And I've got, on my other screen here, I've got those questions. So we'll make sure we do that. So I'm really, really excited. Yeah, I'll put the website for you guys right here so you can see it. There you go. You can see that, and it's covering my face. Now I got to be like this as we go. www.virtual.robsperry.com. You can check in the comments as you go. So really quickly. Oh, what do I do with all these notes, right? Where do we go? It'll be awesome. So I'm going to give you another analogy as I go back to when you guys start out. And the analogy I give, and I give this in one of my ebooks, and I think it's important and it goes along with this, is when someone new starts, I talked about the importance of getting them into action right away. They are literally on their deathbeds. And I know this is a graphic analogy. Hopefully nobody gets offended. But they're literally on their deathbeds. And anything goes wrong, they're done. And so when you wait for 2, 3, 4 days and you don't get them to reach out to new people right away, I'm going to go into this principle here in a second. Right away, the odds go down. And let's just say this person you signed up, it's a specific person. This isn't generalizing. Let's just say we're talking about good old Sally, and Sally joins. And if you did things the right way, there's a 90% chance she's going to contact somebody in the first hour. And then 5 hours later, there's a 70% chance. And 24 hours later, there's a 40% chance. I'm just giving this as an example for you. And then after 48 hours, there's a 10% chance. This is real. Now, I know it's different percentages for every single person, but you need to make sure that you get the newest person into action right away. And that means helping them to reach out to other new people right away. Now, for some of you, your systems, it's going to be customers. And those are easier wins. But if I go to bed, my goal is to go to bed with dreams, not nightmares. I want you to remember this concept and principle. I told you I'm going to go much deeper now. And if somebody starts out, let's say I signed up Sally right now, and Sally's got all these dreams in her mind. She's thinking, oh my goodness, I could make an extra $300 a month, and that would be able to save my house. And that would, I'd be able to save a little bit to be able to take my kids on a Disneyland trip every year that I've always wanted to go. Well, guess what? If she goes to bed and hasn't reached out to anybody, I didn't say sign somebody up. If Sally goes to bed and she hasn't reached out to anybody, she's going to bed with nightmares. If it's not the first night, it's the second. If it's not the second, it's the third night. You don't know when. So we don't want to take any chances, because now all of a sudden, Sally's dreams were here and her fears are pretty high. And it starts to shift now. She starts to think of all the reasons why she can't. I don't have the right style. I don't have the right personality. I don't know anyone. I don't have any time. She starts to think of anything and everything she possibly can. And eventually, she doesn't do anything. It's analyze, paralyze. You see, I was this person. My first 2 days in the network marketing profession, I didn't reach out to anyone. No, that's not true. I reached out to one person. It was a fake invite. And I said, hey, look, I'm looking at doing this thing. I didn't tell them I had really signed up. I didn't ask them to take a look. That's why I call it a fake invite. So 2 days later, my mentor calls me up, and he's the one that taught me this principle. And he says to me, Rob, hey, who you getting on a 3-way call with me, right? This is back, 2008. Like, it's just one way, no social media, nothing, no other ways. And he says to me, Rob, who you getting on the phone with me? I'm like, Vaughn. This guy's made over $30 million. He's such a ghost. He changes his flipping phone number every year. Like, he just messaged me again. He changed his phone number. Like, he's not on social media. He's nowhere. Hasn't been to his own convention in 10 years. Just collects a fat check. But he got back in the trenches for me, and he says, Rob, who you get on the phone with me? Oh, Lon, I'm teaching tennis. I teach until 2 p.m., but I got people coming to your house tomorrow. That was a white lie. White lie, because I didn't have anyone yet, but I was going to get some people in my mind. And he says to me, Rob, we're friends no matter what. But anytime somebody says but, that deletes everything they just said. So it's like, brace yourself. But if you don't get somebody on the phone with me at 2 p.m., I'm done with you. I'm never working with you again. We're still friends, but urgency is synonymous with wealth. Click. The dude hung up on me. This is a guy I'd been really good friends with. And I'm like, I've never even heard that. Now, I'm not telling you to say it like that. He had a different level of credibility, right? I'm not telling you that you have to do it like that by any means. That's not my style of personality, but the goal is to extract the principle. The principle is the world loves boldness. It makes people curious. It's contagious. The principle is urgency is synonymous with wealth. That's the principle. And so I'm freaking out. I'm at the tennis club, right? I'm teaching tennis, and this guy just called me on my crap. I didn't have anybody coming to his house tomorrow. And guess what? Had he waited until Monday, he was out of town, or else he was going to get me into action right away. But had he waited until Monday, because this was a Friday, I can almost guarantee I would have quit. Think about that. I've had a phenomenal career of lots of highs and lows, lots of failures, learning lessons, and successes. But I would have quit. Think about that. And so the reason why I give you that perspective is because I was that person. I was that person that I would have been the person done with the business. How many people do we have like that? The best people learn how to become talent extractors, but the problem is we make ourselves the issue. Well, I haven't had any success yet, right? So how can anyone else have any success? Why is it all about you? Can't they be better than you? Can't you show them what you did wrong? Can't you show them what to do right? Isn't the system pretty simple? Think about that. So that's why I'm so adamant when somebody starts, they're on their deathbeds and they're pretty much on life support. Anything goes wrong, they're done. So we want to give them more oxygen. And if I can get them into action, this is the number one most important key of anything that I think that I will train on, besides, of course, the mindset it starts with, because if you don't have the right mindset, you're not going to implement anything. But after the mindset is this. Whatever system you create, you have to get the newest person to reach out to new people upon signing up. It has to be such a simple system, whether it's an ATM Facebook group and it's like, hey, this is all we do. You invite people and then you let them know, hey, I just invited you to this group, and you shoot them a message, right? Go check it out. You know, if you love it, great. If not, that's okay. And you send them a specific post. You can't really see the post until you accept being in the group, whatever it is. Or if it's a specific Zoom, or it's a recorded Zoom, a live Zoom, or it's a specific video, whatever it is, it's got to be so simple. Whether it's customers, it's distributors, it has to be so simple that they get into action right away. Why? Because how do we get them to go to bed with dreams, not nightmares? Well, good old Sally, you create such a simple system like this. The best systems are simple that now she's reached out to 5 people because she can do that simple system. And now Sally's going to bed. Oh my goodness. If Gertrude joins this business, she is awesome. Gertrude is just, she's the most amazing person. Oh my goodness, Gertrude, she talks to everybody. When she's on the plane, oh my goodness, she can't shut her mouth. She's the biggest extrovert in the world. Oh geez, like this thing's going to blow up. Like maybe I'm going to be doing more. So now what do you think she's going to wake up with? She's going to bed with dreams. She's going to wake up with more excitement, more possibility. Think about that. Now, again, I want to challenge all of you because, you know, I know some of you have tried customer groups or other groups, or I'm not saying that's what you need to do, or Zooms or recorded Zooms or webinars or videos. Every single one of those options work. But they also don't just work. What does that mean? So you got to perfect everything. You got to figure out what worked and what didn't work. It's just like when I started on social media, I built my business in 40 countries. And if you got on a Facebook Live, I was so bad. You would think that with me being in 40 countries that I would have gotten courtesy likes and loves and comments. I mean, you can go back and look. Some of you have seen me share them in screenshots. I had sometimes 3 comments. 3 comments! That's embarrassing. Like you would think I'd have 50 just from team members, just being nice, fake nice, right? I was so bad, no one cared. And so for you, you have to understand that you're going to learn. So what did I do? I learned with social media. It took me, even after I'd made millions of dollars and I committed to social media, it took me a couple years to become pretty good at it. I'm pretty good at it now. I'm really good at it now. And I sucked at it. I was as bad as anyone. I had so many posts I made that got 2 or 3 likes, and it was like they were just bad. And I look back at the memories and they pop up. I'm like, how did I think those were good? They were so bad. So understand with anything, it's not just trying, it's learning. It's just like how I told you guys earlier with different scripts. Test them out. Approach 30 people this way, approach 30 people this way, and see what works. Same thing. If you create a video, like keep just making it better and better and improving as you go. It's just a never ending process as we do it. It's everything is just learning, right? There's a lot of things that I naturally was not very good at. Social media, I'm really good at now. I feel like I can teach it as well as anyone. And guess what? I was so bad at it, but now I can teach it pretty well because it didn't come natural to me. I had to learn it. Lives didn't come natural to me at all. I was so boring. It was awful. It was painful to watch. It was like whispering. So I teach you all of that as you guys go. And again, you may already have systems. You may have upline leaders. You may have sideline leaders that you can combine with as you go. But the best systems, they don't just take off right away. Most of the time, it takes some time. Take some time to just see what works and what doesn't work. And maybe you got a group and you find certain posts do well and certain posts don't. And you try lives and lives do well. And maybe your lives don't do well. And maybe you find like, you just take data as you go and make it happen. So that's so important as you go. But I want you to help the newest person so that as they start, they're going to bed with dreams. And that's why that, to me, besides the mindset, is the most important thing that you've got to figure out. So when you write down your action steps, your little executables, you have to make sure that you do that. You've got to make sure, you've got to challenge yourself to do that. Now, again, mirror people. Some people, all you can do is get them to reach out to one person. And you've got to figure out how to do that. And I'm going to give you 2 important things that will help you out for this. Just a second. But you've got to do that. I saw a ton. Sorry, I missed a bunch of your guys' comments because I was telling my story. But I saw a bunch of you already joined the virtual event. Good work. I'm excited. It's going to be cool. So going back to that story with my mentor, I got on at 2 p.m. And from 2 p.m. when I was done with work till about 10 p.m., I got on 3-way calls straight. That month, I ended up having more volume as like direct volume, sponsorship volume than anyone in a multi-billion-dollar company. That's me, the guy who got called in by the CFO, CMO, CEO for being bad at selling tennis memberships. It's the guy I felt like I was the worst at selling. He got me into action, and I started getting this momentum where I was going to bed with dreams. And all of a sudden that transitioned into my energy, and that transitioned into my passion and my excitement, and people could feel that. And so I was able to go crush it. I was able to go make it happen. And I empower you with all of these stories of successes and failures because I know you can do this. Some of you it's going to take longer than others, but stop being so hard on yourself. You can do this. And the 2 questions every single person asks themselves is, number 1, can I do what you're doing? And number 2, is it worth it? So when we talk about getting the newest person into action right away, remember, they're asking themselves, can I do it? Can I do what you're doing? Can I do this? Can I talk to brand new people? And that's why we're simplifying the system to show them that, yeah, it's easy. All we do is invite people to this video, and then we got whatever, your third-party validation after, whatever your system is, or your ATM group, or your recorded video, whatever it is. And you keep it simple as you go. And then the second question is they're asking themselves, is it worth it? Because this goes back to what Deb talked about the fears that we have. The fear of the unknown. The fear of judgment, which I believe is the mother of all fears. Well, what if they make fun of me? And what if they say no? And what did Deb say? What if? What if? It takes time to become the most fearless version of yourself. It's not going to happen overnight. Again, stop being so hard on yourself. The past is the past. That's your ego, right? The future is the future. That's great. You can borrow from your future vision. Focus on the present. Learn from the past, borrow from your future vision, focus on the present. It comes from the game of conquering, right? Victims, survivors, conquerors. Become a conqueror. Conquerors knows that some day isn't one of the days of the week. Stop being so hard on yourself. Just keep learning. Just keep getting better. Just keep failing forward as you do this. It's going to make such a huge difference for you as you make this happen. So, can I do it? Is it worth it? These are the 2 questions everyone asks themselves. Can I do it? Is it worth it? You're asking yourself that question for hitting the next rank. Can I do it? Is it worth it? Can I do it? Is it worth it? Can I do it? Is it worth it? Think about that. Can I do it? Is it worth it? And some days you're going to have those days where you just get your butt kicked and it's like really, really hard. And you're just like, oh, that's why I do, right? These things. That's why I do these virtual type events, and I do the masterminds, and I do this breakthrough right here on duplication stuff to really help keep you going. That's why I've got podcasts, I don't know, a couple hundred episodes for you. All of this stuff, because I want to keep constantly reminding you and helping you, where you take, some days you walk, some days you jog, some days you crawl. And this goes along with Kagan said, where she said, managing expectations. You walk with the walkers, you sprint with the sprinters, you jog with the joggers, you crawl with the crawls, you love on everyone, you match their energy, and you cast a vision that hopefully helps them and they want to go faster. But if they don't, that's okay. You love them where they're at and you don't make them feel guilty. And you go find other people. And you don't abandon those people, you support them. But understand that you've got people that have so much talent and potential, but because you wait 5 days to get them to reach out to new people, they're done before they can get started. And that makes it so hard. They're done before they even get started. Now, what I did as I go through these stories and examples for you is I crushed it that first month. I was working a tennis club and I did this on the side, network marketing. I generated $45,000 in sales. I was a dude selling skincare. Those of you that have been to my masterminds know I joke around about it. But when you're a 28-year-old guy, right? Now I'm 41, but when you're a 28-year-old guy, you're selling skincare, right? It's like you got some limiting beliefs. And they had a device that was incredible, worked on like cellulite and stretch marks. It's not like I could call my buddies up and say, hey, dude, saw you in the locker room. You had cellulite on that left cheek. We're going to work on it and come over. We're going to watch the game. And at halftime, I'm going to firm that bad boy up. I had some limiting beliefs, right? Some massive limiting beliefs. So I crushed it. And, you know, I had people making fun of me like, oh, so you're going to earn your pink Cadillac. And I would joke around with them, but it hurt. And I had someone in my neighborhood named Chris. He deserves to be mentioned by his name. Still friends with him. He's wildly successful now, but Chris made fun of me to the whole neighborhood. Can you believe Rob's doing skincare and network marketing? I can't believe it. And I acted all tough and macho like it wasn't a big deal, but I was so embarrassed. So embarrassed I didn't make one post on social media pertaining to network marketing for 5 years, even after I'd made millions of dollars. What? Yeah. Did you hear what I just said? That's the amount of limiting beliefs I had. That's the amount of fear of judgment I had. That's the amount of fear of the unknown I had. I had it, but I just kept going. So my second month in network marketing, I thought, you know what? Let's use the strategies to increase productivity and get the newest person in action right away. I stopped reaching out to new people. I didn't want to deal with the pain of rejection, the pain of failure, the pain of judgment, the pain of the unknown. I didn't want to deal with any of those fears. So I thought, you know what? I crushed it. I did $45,000 in sales. If I can just get one person to do what I did, I'm done. And if they can help one person do what I did, I started to try to find the person to do the work rather than becoming the person. Think about that. Now, when you hear the speed of the leader, speed of the pack, hopefully that makes sense. And guess what happened? Everyone followed my lack of talking to brand new people. So everyone went into this management mode. They confused being busy with being productive, and they were watching the trainings and going to the trainings and studying the comp plan, but no one was talking to new people. My first month's check, I told you it was pretty big. I didn't tell you what it was. I'll tell you now. $15,000 part-time. My second check, $2,200 full-time. Remember I told you at the beginning I quit my job way too soon? My fifth month in the business, I was working 80 hours a week. I made less than $400 for the month. Now, some of you are like, well, $400 is still pretty good. When you're working 80 hours a week, when you quit a six-figure career, it's not like I could go back and say, hey, can I have my job back running a tennis club? Six-figure career. Less than $400 for the month. Went into debt for the first time in my life. My wife saw the check and said, is this going to work? And I'm like, uh-huh. In my mind, I'm like, I got no clue, but I better figure this thing out. Look, we all go through the trials and struggles. And that's why I want to help you out. I had to learn the hardest of hard ways that I was in management mode. I was not leading. And so for you, even though we're duplicating, your best form of duplication for the newest person is by leading by example. And so you're going to help them. And your goal is, yes, let's get them to put you in front of new people right away. But you need to constantly, any extra time you have, let's put it this way, 80% of your time needs to be spent talking to brand new people. Most people spend less than 1% talking to brand new people. And if your new people are putting you in front of new people, that counts. But if they're not, you need to constantly still be talking to new people. Because whatever we do well duplicates sometimes. Whatever we do poorly almost always duplicates. Think about that. I've got 4 kids. I swear, whatever I do well only duplicates sometimes. Whatever I do poorly, it always duplicates. Always, always. It's so awesome being a parent. It's so hard. It makes me be better. And so for you, it's the same thing on your team. You can't be the person that's just trying to tell everyone what to do and you're not talking to brand new people. Now, if you're so busy that your team is just putting you in front of new people, well, great. You don't have time to talk to new people. That's positive stress. That's great. But the best thing you can do is constantly find ways to talk to new people, whether it's your people getting in front of new people or you are, because they're going to get on. Let's say you do a team training and you're talking about how you're in mass momentum and it's the same people that have been on the last 6 months. Nobody knew. You see, too many times we play defense, and defense is where we're basically just trying to learn, but we aren't taking action and we aren't talking to new people. And we need to shift to offense. The best defense is an incredible offense. Think about that. So if you don't have people that are getting into action, even though you're trying to implement these principles, as you get better, you're going to find you're going to get more out of them, which is the best way to help them. But you're also going to find you're going to get more out of them when you're talking to new people. Become the person you would want to recruit. And as you start tracking these, I love the money-making activities, the income-producing activities, when you can get to the point that you spend 80% of your time on that, I'm telling you, you can crush your business in a couple hours a week. Think about it. I mean, if you only had 5 hours a week to work and you spent 4 of those 5 hours talking to brand new people, you'd crush it. But we like to feel like we're working hard because it makes us feel like we deserve success. And so we'll work 10 hours, but 9.5 of those 10 hours is the plan for the plan of the plan of the plan of the plan of the plan. And then we wonder why we don't have success. This is the most moral form of compensation there is. This form of compensation doesn't really care. It doesn't care your gender. It doesn't care your race. It doesn't care your age. It doesn't care your educational background. It doesn't care how many hours you work. It's going to pay you based off of results. And the results are going to come based off your increase of focus. I firmly believe that if you can spend 80% of your time in the money-making activities, the income-producing activities, it's not a question of if, it's when. Not if, but when, not if, but when. Can you do it? Like I said earlier, tough love is your why lie, right? Our mastermind principle. Are your actions matching your why? Maybe you need to create, as Deb taught you, your anchor, your power statement, your really short one that you can come back to. I'm not here to put you down. I'm here to empower you that you can do more. You can be more. I've seen every single, I've spoken in, I don't know, I'll have to count again. It was like almost 20 countries. I've seen so many different companies and leaders and personalities and styles. You can do this. You can do this. But you got to stop making excuses. You got to replace every negative thought with 3 positive solutions. You got to create your anchor, your power statement. You got to become more focused and disciplined. And when you're not, don't be so hard on yourself. Just learn from it. Say, you know what? I'm getting better, but yesterday sucked. I'm getting better, but I wasn't as good as I hoped to be on this. So tomorrow I'm going to do this. Just keep progressing. Just keep improving as you do it. Keep getting more clear. I created the dream boards. I created the power statements. I put them on the opposite side of my shower, and it was annoying, right? I was like, this is what we do. I'm like, babe, we're chasing our dreams, right? It's like, okay. I put it on the mirror. I had to say them out loud when nobody was looking, right? Because I was so embarrassed. In the Game of Conquering, I talked about I had to read it like 15 times a day at some points. My wife didn't even know I had created it. That's how big of an ego I had and how embarrassed I was. I didn't think I had an ego at all. We all do, though. But I was so embarrassed, right, that I had these limiting beliefs that I just, I didn't want anybody to know. So again, that's why you constantly got to be having things like these 3-day type virtual events, this here to remind you. And I always will simplify and always remind you to take action as you go. And we're not even done yet. I got more content, and we also are going to have another legend join us here in a little bit, Kylie, and you're going to hear from her, and you're going to hear her unique style and her unique personality as she's crushed it in her business, and she's applying that to her and making it go, and she's fine-tuning and tweaking it as she goes and make it happen. Now, one of the questions that's asked is, how do I get the newest person into action when I don't yet have credibility? So this is what I'm going to tell you. A couple different ways. Number one, sell your past credibility. Have you had success in anything? For me, when I started network marketing, I had success in tennis. Maybe you had success in your job. Maybe you had success in sports or music or school. Something. Draw from something and sell that. So I could sell, look, you know what I've done in tennis? I'm going to do whatever it takes. Now, if you feel like you've been in for a while and you haven't done what you know you need to do, then own that. If somebody knows you and you feel like your past mistakes are an issue with them, the best way to overcome your insecurities is hit them head on. So I'm going to say, look, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I've joined 3 network marketing companies and haven't done what I said I was going to do. And I'm sick of it. I know the power of it. I know exactly what I need to do. I got an incredible team, incredible products, incredible company. And now sell your future self of what you're going to do. And I'm going to do whatever it takes. And my goal is, insert your goal, whatever's compliant with your company, right? And if it's not an income, maybe you can sell goals. Sometimes you can sell. It depends on each company. I don't want you to be not compliant, but it could be like, specifics like family vacation, car, house, like memories, whatever. My goal is I want to do 5 family vacations every single year. My goal is I want to make $10,000 a year, and I'm going to do that in the next 2 years. And guess what? I'm going to do whatever it takes. And it may take me 3, 4, 5 years, but whatever it takes. I know that every single thing, every big dream and goal typically takes longer than we think it's going to take. But I'm going to do whatever it takes. Isn't that moving? So you see how now, even when I didn't have credibility, I just was straight up with it. That's the best way with your insecurities. Hit it head on. And then always sell your future self of your future goals so you can borrow from your future self, the $1 million version of you, to build credibility. And then sell your commitment. That's what I did. I sold my commitment. I didn't have the success yet. That's posture to me, because it's not fake it until you make it. I wasn't acting like I was making $1 million. I was selling my direction. I was selling what I was going to do. And I also sold it may take me longer than I think. That's credibility right there. So if you don't have credibility, besides leveraging your company, besides leveraging your leaders, which you should do, besides leveraging, maybe it's a science-based company that you got, or how incredible your products are, you won this award or that award, that's all great. Do that. You can sell yourself. You can sell your commitment. You can sell your future self. You can sell sometimes your past credibility with something else. You can sell a lot. You can do this. You can make this happen. You can absolutely crush this. But you got to believe in yourself. You got to stop making yourself the issue. Because I know you want to get the newest person into action right away. And I know you've learned a little bit of onboarding and managing expectations. And you've learned a little bit about mindset. And you've learned a little bit about, simplifying and mirroring people and all of that stuff. But if you don't believe in yourself, start out with at least believing in others as you go. Believe in what they can do. And start small if you need to. Start small with just believing in them making their money back, right? Like small like that as you go. I'm going to look at these notes here. So I'll add this again for you guys. Who's already joined? Who's in? Like, can you imagine if this is the free version with 7 speakers, what it's going to be like when we have almost 40? Like crazy, right? Fun. So a couple other things that, I've got here as I'm going to look at these notes, because I've just got so much notes, as you guys can learn from my incredible management mode that I went from. And I had to wake myself up. And I will tell you that even the top leaders, they aren't always doing the money activities like you think. They're just doing it more than most people. Does that make sense? It's not like when you think about the best leaders, it's not that they're spending 95% of their time in the income producing activities or the money making activities. It's that they are doing it more than others. And that's what you got to keep doing, is you got to keep snapping out of it. But you also have got to track how much time you're spending on talking to brand new people. And if you can track that, then you can measure. There's a great quote that says, that which cannot be measured cannot be improved. So I did not just a mastermind, I did like a mini mastermind. So instead of 4 days, I did a quick 2-day event for a team. And this team, it was in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And one of the challenges I asked them is, I said, how many in this room? I think we had 80 in the room. And this was just about a month ago. I said, how many in this room can tell me how many new people they've talked to in the last 2 months? And I would say out of the 80 people, and I said, I need to know exact names and I need exact numbers, not an idea. And it was not a guess. I said, tell me exacts. It was less than 5 people. Think about it. We don't even track the most important thing. So I want you to start tracking how much time that you're truly, when you're really working, not like you're kind of working and you're eating and you're checking social media, like specific dedicated time, and how many new people you're talking to. Because if you can do this well, you can start to also teach your teams to do this well. And you can become that talent extractor. If I were personally coaching you, that would be one of the questions I would want to know. How many new people are you talking to, right? Going back to the basics. Oh, a lot. What does a lot mean? Like, how many? What are the exacts? Because I want you to start acting like the $1 million version of you. Even if that's not your goal, is to make $1 million. And as you hear, you'll hear Kylie here in a second, as she'll give you some of the things that she's gone through as she's always constantly trying to improve her duplication. I get to personally coach her as well. And it's so fascinating and fun to see all these unique styles and personalities, because we're all going to be different on our techniques and strategies, but the principles are timeless. The principles are things that you have to learn. Remember how we talked about the ability to learn how to learn is the greatest ability one can have? So you've got to look at it and say, okay, of all these leaders, everything you're listening to, what's the principle? And then you can apply your unique style. You can apply your personality. So when my mentor was so bold and brash with me. I'm done with you. I'm never working with you again. The principle, again, remember, was the world loves boldness. It makes people curious. It's contagious. The technique was the words that he used, right? I'm done with you. I'm not going to say that. So don't confuse principles and techniques as you tune into this training. Instead, create your executables. Instead, create, what your uniqueness is going to be. How are you going to apply it with your style? And don't be so hard on yourself when you do make mistakes. Just say, you know what? Rob said the ability to learn how to learn is the greatest ability one can have. I'm just going to learn from this. Make it a little better. 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 And eventually you're going to be like, oh my goodness, this is so much better. I can't even believe where I was a year ago. That's what you want to do. That's how I look at my social media. That's how I look at even public speaking. That's how I look at my ability to write books. I just look at them like I had no clue, but I just got started. Walt Disney says the best way to get started is to start doing. Think about that. The best way to get started is to start doing. So I'm going to bring on our next speaker. Kylie, I just want to make sure you're there. I can see her down there. Camera's not on, so I just want to make sure you're good. Yeah, you're good. You're good. Awesome. Well, I'm going to introduce our next speaker here, Kylie. She's another phenomenal leader. She asked some of the best questions. I'm genuinely mean that for personal coaching. I love the questions you ask because, as John Maxwell says, good leaders ask great questions. And that goes along with our ability to learn how to learn is, just always asking, even if you think you're doing something right or not. And that's an incredible attribute, especially because, she's a very, very top earner in the top 1% of network marketers and has absolutely just smashed it. And we're always learning. We're always learning what we can do and how we can become better. And one of the reasons why I brought her on as a top leader is because she has also been asking questions on duplication and taken everything she's previously learned and said, okay, I want to simplify everything and I want to make it even better. And so I know you spent probably a good 2.5 hours on my last in-depth on duplication. And this time we're bringing on other voices and stuff and improving upon that. And so Kylie, are you there?
I'm here. Thank you.
There. We can hear you loud and clear already. I really appreciate you making time and coming on. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull myself off so everyone can hear you. And then whenever you're done, I'll hop right back on and maybe ask you a couple questions and we'll wrap it up. And so all of you guys, as you're on, just drop as many comments as you can, things that stand out and stuff like that. And Kylie can come back and check those out after.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Rob, for having me on. What an honor. I'm so excited to be part of this boot camp. I love 3-day smash it, crush it, talk about your goals type challenges because number one, we can keep your focus. Right? Like it's really, really important. So I love Rob Sperry. I love everything about this man and what he teaches, how he coaches, how he resonates with people. So I just have to give it back to you, Rob. I'm so grateful for your leadership, your mentorship, and excited about where it's taking my business as well as the businesses of so many others. So a little my background is I was a hairstylist for 10 years prior to the network marketing industry. And when I decided to partner with my last company back in 2014, I was just looking like probably many of you for a way to make about an extra $500 a month. And I loved what Kagan was saying about how if you would have told me like checked in on me every day and done this and make sure you're doing, I would have been so overwhelmed. I probably would have quit very, very quickly. Although I do love a good challenge. I like to rise up to it. Overwhelmed people do nothing, right? So I feel like what I'm going to talk to you about today, I believe it to be the holy grail of network marketing. Everybody wants a system, right? We're going to talk about systems today. And that was actually one of the reasons I had reached out to Rob originally to get some of his coaching because I'm always looking for a way to keep it simple. I always joke around that I was not a college graduate. I dropped out of college to go to beauty school and I just love simplicity. I always say I had a major in People magazine, right? So I'm definitely not dumb. I will find a way to figure it out, but I do like simplicity in place. So when I was introduced to the industry, I was very busy. I was working nights and weekends behind the chair, and I had 2 young children. So my kids at the time were 9 months old and 2 years old. So I needed something that I could build on my time, on my terms, and kind of build that in the nooks and crannies of my day. And I actually remember it was in the fall of 2014, my upline, Liz, actually reached out to me and she said, hey, there's this conference in Las Vegas. It's GoPro. We should go to this. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine going out there, but I guess if it's going to help me in my business, I'll go. And I remember when we were sitting there in this conference, we were brand new, we didn't know anything. Maybe we thought we knew something, but we're sitting there and we heard the speakers on stage over and over again talking about systems. And we kept looking at one another and we were like, do we have a system? I don't know if we have a system. So everyone says ignorance on fire is so much better than knowledge on ice. And I believe that my ignorance on fire, my excitement helped me get to the top of that company. However, there were times that I just felt really frustrated, like I wasn't sure I could completely duplicate what I was doing. So I was never the best. I was never the top seller. I was never the top recruiter, but I felt that I was good at leadership, that I was passionate about helping people win, right? So here's the thing that you have to remember when you're thinking about systems is, can I do this? Okay, is it working? And if somebody else does exactly what I'm doing, is it going to work for them? Okay, that is one of the most important questions that you can ask. I always say it doesn't matter what works for you. It matters what duplicates to the masses, okay? Maybe you have a great personality. Cool. But what happens when you recruit that person that doesn't have a great personality? We've all had them on our teams probably. And I don't mean that to judge their character. It's just some people are not as outgoing, or maybe some people they pull away more in their personality. And that's where systems come into play. Okay, so confused people do nothing. I mentioned that. But when launching, they're going to ask the exact way that you bring them in if they can do it too. And if they feel that it's too complicated, they're out. Like Rob said, if they're not taking action right away, they're quitting. And our goal is to get people around the campfire, keep them there. Now, many people have all different types of goals. Some are part-time goals, some are full-time goals. As I mentioned, when I started, $500 a month was all I wanted. But it was at that conference in 2014 that I completely turned it over. Why? Because there was something said on that stage that made me believe that I could do it too. Okay, there was some type of mindset shift for me that even though I had considered myself a failure in so many of the things that I had done, guys, I was making $30,000 a year as a hairstylist. I was frustrated. I was trading my time for money. I had no freedom at all. But this is why I am so passionate about systems in place, because they work for you. They do the work for you, that you don't have to be the expert. So people always say, what's one of the most common objections? Well, I can think of 2, okay? One is I'm not a salesperson. And number 2 is I don't have the time. A system in place is going to help you find more time and not have to be the salesperson. Sometimes salespeople aren't really all that great at network marketing. It's not that the principles aren't amazing, it's that they try to be the expert too often. And I will tell you that if you're not closing more associates or prospects, or you're not closing customers, the reason is typically that you're saying too much. Or maybe you're not talking at all. So I had listened to a training, somebody else in the industry that I really admired. And she was sharing about how she teaches the ITT method. So it's invite, tool, team. Okay, if you think about this, one of my favorite fast food restaurants is Chick-fil-A. Okay, who doesn't love Chick-fil-A? And a big reason is because of their customer service. Okay, they're incredible. But if you go to a Chick-fil-A, I live in Kentucky, you go to Chick-fil-A here, right? Chicken, Kentucky, I know. But you go here and then you cross into a different state and you go to that Chick-fil-A, guess what? More than likely, you're going to experience the same type of service, right? Now, you might get different personalities at each of those restaurants, but Chick-fil-A teaches a system. And when I started really looking and diving into how do I keep this simple for the brand new person, how do I keep it simple for me? Because I value my time, I value freedom, I want to spend time with my family. then I went back to this. I was like, if Chick-fil-A can do it, if they can teach a system, surely I can develop a system within my network marketing business. So I love this system where step one, it's all about the invitation. Okay, so if you're not talking, your business is closed. But if you're talking too much, you're probably not going to get anywhere. So there is a really great balance. So my last company experience, my best recruiting month was about 12 people. Okay, I always said I wasn't that great. And I also remember hearing the principle that you need to recruit 20 people in 30 days to really burst into momentum. And so I thought, well, how am I going to recruit more people? Now I've since upped that number and I've been able to recruit a lot more people, and I will tell you exactly how. So when I post on social media, and I'm similar to Rob, I'm not as good as Rob, I will tell you that, but I feel like I've got a good idea of how to generate interest on social media. But the systems that are in place for you are meant to help you build while you're building your influence. I want you to write that down. You want to build while you're building your influence, okay? You don't have to build your influence up to be able to build a network marketing business. I teach my team, who are the 5 people that you love the most? Who are the 5 people, if you blew out a tire on the side of the road, that they'd be right there to pick you up? Let's reach out to those people first. Typically, those are the least scary people to reach out to. Now, will every single one of those 5 say yes to you? Not necessarily. But remember that you're not hard selling them on buying a product or signing up on your team. You're just inviting. Okay, that's step 1. You're inviting them to take a look at what you're doing. Now, step 2, and this is where a lot of people make a mistake. Step 2 is the tool. Okay, tools do the talking. I am so passionate about business tools. I sit in my office often and make different videos for my team if they're not already made by our corporate headquarters. So the meaning here is that a tool is somebody or something that's not you. And then last, we're going to use our team to help us close that prospect, okay? So again, somebody who's not you. Why? Because we're not in the convincing business. And oftentimes, if you're the only one having the conversation, if you're the only one explaining or sharing, number 1, you're making it look too complicated. And number 2, you're teaching that prospect that this requires a lot of time, that they're going to have to learn about the products, that they're going to have to learn this business presentation. And most people that start in network marketing are looking for part-time income on part-time hours. And if you show them a system that's way too many hours, they're gonna completely check out, okay? So invite is really, social media posting is not the invitation. I want you to know this. I heard Kagan, she was incredible, and she was talking about you can't just post and pray. And you know what? Many of us have fallen into that trap. We think, well, I've been posting every day. Why isn't my business building? Well, are you inviting the people that are commenting? Are you inviting the people that are on your list? Maybe people aren't commenting. I can tell you so many times I've seen people step into my business, partner with me, or purchase products from me that have never once commented on a single social media post, right? Your social media posts are like a billboard, and your people are driving down the interstate, okay? So they're passing that billboard, but they're not always seeing or consuming what you're creating. So you do need to be consistent with that, but you need to be consistently reaching out. Honestly, I could be different, but I don't love when I see these ads in my newsfeed saying you can build a network marketing business without reaching out to a single person. I think that's complete garbage, okay? Like I said, how are you gonna build your business while you're building your influence? Once you build your influence, more than likely you will have way more people reaching out to you. But in the beginning, you're gonna be in the trenches. You're gonna be doing the hard things. You're gonna be going for no and reaching out to people over and over again. That's why that invite is the most important step, okay? Just take the step. Take the stinking step. Somebody telling me no has never killed me yet. I'm still here. I'm still kicking, okay? So then the tool. Okay, what does your tool like? In your company, it might be completely different than what I use, but I'm a big believer in quick overviews and videos and everything like that. So when I started in my company, anytime that somebody reached out to me and said, hey, Kylie, what is it that you're doing now, right? I did get reach outs, but I was also reaching out to people to invite them to take a look. But anytime that they wanted to know more about what it was that I was doing, guess what I didn't do? Explain. I did zero of that. Number 1, it's a time suck, okay? I don't have the time to get on the phone and explain this business to hundreds of people. because I need to build a huge business, right? I have massive goals in the industry. So I knew that I needed to use a tool to do the talking so that I could continue talking to more people. So I love sharing videos. I love inviting to Zoom calls. I love just sharing something that can do the presentation for me so I can continue doing the work. And then it's the follow-up conversation, okay? So people are probably gonna ask, number one, what do you do? Number two, what do you sell? You're probably getting that question, right? We don't want to just blast it all over Facebook. I sell this, join my team, right? We want to create some curiosity so that people are inquiring and asking questions. Number three, what does your product do? Now, hopefully you are leading more with what your product experience sounds like versus just saying what the product is. But then number four, you're going to have people when they are interested, how do I get started? So if these are really common questions, I would definitely recommend, if you don't have it in place already, creating a tool that can talk for you that your team can share and utilize as well. And then that last step, team, okay? So team is all about third-party validation. And I want to tell you why this is so important to me. And back that conference in 2014, the one that completely changed my life, you guys, I swear I was such a sponge when I was brand new to the industry. I was so hungry. I was so coachable. I was willing to do whatever it took. Ignorance on Fire was my middle name. I was ready to run. I was figuring it out as I went. But I also probably got a little bit big for my britches and thought I had it figured out pretty quickly. I did not. But I was sitting at the pool in Las Vegas and talking to some other network marketers that we had met there. And I asked one of them, I said, hey, can you tell me when somebody's interested in your business, what do you do? And like Rob said, I'm always asking questions. I just want to absorb the information, but I don't get stuck there. I ask the question and then I immediately take it to action. This is key. You don't want to just stay a student forever, okay? So I had asked this man, I said, okay, so what is it that you're doing? How do you get the new person into your business? And he said, well, I get them on the phone with my upline, and he explained this three-way call that he was doing. And at the time, I didn't even know what a three-way call was. Our company wasn't incorporating them. I had never really even heard of it. And I just remember walking away from that conversation with my head held high, and I thought, oh my gosh, so funny. This guy doesn't even know what he's doing. I could get on the phone and explain what I do to anybody. I know how to describe my products. I know how to describe my business. Oh, I kind of felt sorry for him. I was like, I bet he doesn't make very much money. Well, then one of his teammates walked over to me and I was like, so tell me more about him. How long has he been in your company? And he was like, oh, Frank. Okay, so Frank is making about $350,000 a month, and he's the top earner in our company. My jaw hit the floor, you guys. I like foot in the mouth. I felt so stupid. But what I learned that day was way more important than my ego. And it was that you have to realize that other people can sell what you're selling better than you can by bringing them into the conversation, right? The experts do the basics better. And the experts are not the expert in every conversation, okay? Although you may become an expert the longer you spend in your network marketing company, we want to keep it so simple that when we're having these conversations, that brand new person, light bulb goes off and they instantly believe that they can do exactly what it is that you're doing. So that was kind of the craziest thing for me. And I realized this. Most people do not want to sell, nor do they want to be sold to. So if you can find a way to share and not be super high pressure salesy, I've talked to Rob a lot about this too. You know, I love people. I love working with people. My goal is never to be, you know, the shark chasing everybody down and convincing them and getting them to join my team and then, you know, buy my product and push. It's simply to invite people, share some information, and then have a conversation with them about what they like best. So in our follow-up, that's literally all that we do. I say, hey, what did you like best about what you saw? And if somebody reaches out to me about a specific product, I get them in front of the whole picture. Now, our team loves ATM, and I know there are lots of different systems for everybody else, but it's just something that I love. I love the idea of getting people in front of the opportunity as well. If you're not signing associates, but you are signing customers, it's more than likely that you're just not having that follow-up conversation or asking those key questions. One of our associates that just partnered with us literally yesterday was a customer under my husband, and he was loving the product. And my husband said, hey, you know, how do you like your product? He said, oh, it's good, this, that, whatever. And I nudged my husband. He's not much of a network marketer. He says he doesn't really, it's not really for him, but he's this supportive role. And I said, Chad, ask him about the business. And he said, well, what do I say? And I said, are you open to the business? You guys, it really is sometimes way more simple than what we make it out to be. So Chad asked him and he said, well, not really, but I mean, I'll look at it or whatever. So he invited him in front of a video, tagged him in it, and then the rest is history. He was so excited. 20 minutes later, he's like, I'm in. I need my wife to see this. We're excited about what it is that we're seeing. So you can see how simple it really can be. So I love that. I'm passionate about that because one of the biggest reasons I got into the industry was, number one, I needed to make a little extra money. My husband was working 60 hours a week. I was gone nights and weekends, and I barely saw my kids at bedtime. And then number two, I wanted time freedom. I wanted to be able to travel and go on vacations and not be standing behind a chair all day, every day. So it was important to me to be able to find a system and develop something that could create that freedom for people, whether they wanted to work an hour a day or 10 hours a day, they could see some form of a result. So we are loving it. We are so excited as this is continuing to develop. But if you have systems in place, it's important that every person in your organization understands what that is, that you get them in front of it as soon as possible. And if maybe you're sitting around and you're going, I'm not sure if I do, it's never too late to develop that, to step out as a leader. Instead of just waiting around for somebody else to figure it out, I say take the bull by the horns, take the reins and go after it. And so if those tools aren't in place, make some tools. Keep it simple. You don't have to be incredible. You just have to take action. Okay. So done is better than perfect. Thank you so much, Rob, for having me on.
So where do I even start? I'm like looking at all my notes, like so many good notes. I got to organize all my notes as well.
Oh my gosh.
To go a couple different things. So when you talk about curiosity posts and people doing that, I think that's such an important way, like people doing social media the right way and teaching people how to do that. Do you have any ideas or examples? Like, because I know a lot of people that are newer or haven't really mastered social media. You're really good at that. What are some examples of good type curiosity posts that aren't spammy?
Oh my gosh, that's so good. So I think it depends on what you're really sharing. So I think it's good to diversify your posting. Of course, if you only talk about product, you're probably only going to get customers. But if you only talk about business, you might miss out on 80% of your organization. So a lot of people are just starting for a product, right? So I have done it wrong and I've done it better. So I used to just, spam. Oh my gosh, you got to try this product. Here's what it does. Here's who the founders are. Blah, 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 blah. I just word vomited on everybody. And I used to also be the demonstration. I literally would go live and do all of the work myself. And so I become very passionate about creating that curiosity. So I like to talk about, what a product does for me. So during my own experience, your results are the absolute best presentation that you can ever give. So, if you're having a great experience on your product, just post that. If your hair is growing or if you've lost weight or, maybe if you have more energy, whatever your product does, post about the way you feel instead of what it is. I think that's really important. And then also, it's not really saying at the end, reach out to me to buy this product or reach out to me for more information.
Private message me. Oh, I wasn't going to before, but because you said PM me, I'm all in now.
Join my team. I've only got 3 spots available. Nobody is biting on that. It's just not going to happen. So what you want to do is think about, would this stop me in my scroll, right? Like, is this something that I would stop and maybe comment on? And I think if I saw my friend lost 10 pounds and she didn't have to do that much for it, then I'd be excited by that, right? I'd be reaching out to her. But the minute that people, sorry, our Ring doorbell's going crazy. But the minute that people add that like spammy thing at the end, you're almost turned off, like you pull away from it. It's weird, right? So I think it's just about sharing and then understanding that if they're interested, they're probably going to comment or reach out to you naturally. And the same with business. I mean, oh my gosh, because of this business, I've been able to do this, or I'm so excited. The biggest thing I did differently when I launched this business is I really wanted people to ask me what I was doing, right? I wanted inquiries. I wanted people to see that my energy was different. And so many of you that are new to network marketing, or maybe, maybe you've been doing it for a while and you're thinking about, how do I coach the brand new person? I think it is so important that they shift the way that they show up online. So that was one thing I heard a lot when I started my business is, oh my gosh, there was something different in your energy. You seem so happy. You seem so excited. I just had to know what it was that you're doing. So I think that people are going to be watching, but if you stay consistent 3 months, 6 months down the road and you still look excited, then those people that maybe you reached out to in the beginning are now going to start to come around and be like, okay, now I'm ready to hear more about what it is that you're doing.
Yeah, that's so important. And then one question is she's talking about personal profile, right? Not in some sort of like VIP or ATM group.
Right. So in a VIP or an ATM group, I feel like you have a lot more permission to really say what the product is, say exactly like, how they do it, how they get started. I teach my team, I'm like, listen, if you're inside of a testimony group where you already have that captive audience, right? You have your lead list right there in the group. You're allowed to say pretty much whatever you want. Of course, you still want to, be creative in some of your posts, but yeah, on your profile page, the thing is that you don't know who's watching it. So if you give it all away, it's kind of like the first date, right? They're not going to call you back. It's just really not going to happen. So you don't go on a first date and say, hey, you want to come on up to my bedroom? Like, people don't do that, right? So typically, like, those of us that are a little on the classy side, girls and boys. Okay, so anyway, but that's what I believe is that you want to keep the curiosity, right? You want them coming back for more. But if they're already in the group, you can have a little more permission to, go deeper into the details of what it is that you have.
Yeah, and people are asking, what's an ATM group? And I know some are asking, what's a VIP group? So I guess the best way to say it is Kylie just said it, it's a testimonial group. ATM group is typically more of a group that teams all share together, and VIP groups are typically more of just one's individual group. They're the same purpose, right? Just one could be shared by 100,000 team members or 5,000 or 20 team members. That would be more of an ATM, which stands for add, tag, message. That doesn't really work. It just sounds like a good acronym now, because once you add them, you can't tag them until they accept being in the group. So it's really add them, then it's message them right away, so they're not spammed and just added to a group. And that could be a big group, right, that you share as a team, or a smaller team, or a cross-lane team, or it could be your own VIP group. Like I said earlier, I've seen VIP groups work. I've seen ATM groups work. I've seen Zooms work, recorded ones. I've seen different variations. Everyone has a different unique style and personality. The principle is something that is simple, that's a tool you can use, that shares those testimonials. And if you're saying, like, last question, if you're saying you can be more direct in your VIP or ATM shared type group, what would you do to make a group, like a good VIP group or ATM group? Like, maybe just throw out a couple ideas for everyone here.
So we actually just started ours within our team. It's kind of newer, and the energy is so important. Like you said earlier, you're like, oh my gosh, like, people feed off of those comments. So if you're doing it together with other people, I think it's better. Okay, so I've done VIP groups before. I literally hate them. Like, I think they're the worst ever. I'm not always consistent with it. And a lot of times, like, you'll post in there and you get no comments, and it's so lame, and you feel like nobody cares, right? And I've done this for 7 years, you guys, so I feel like I know what I'm doing, but it's just not my jam. But when you have the energy of a group, it goes back to that third-party validation, which I love, because now it's not just me telling you that you need to buy this product or be part of this business. It's all the other people that are in the group are validating that too. So creating the energy and really, like, laying down the ground rules. So I've been teaching my team, I'm like, one testimony a week, if you can share something that's working for you or somebody on your team that's doing something you're excited about, and then 10 comments a day. So if you can just go in there and light up the comments so that more people are seeing it, because the posts with the comments are going to get the most, validation and interaction. And then I teach to invite everybody that reaches out. So I kind of say, hey, if you don't love it, no big deal, but I invited you to this thing. I think you're really going to like it. And you're going to learn more about what you just asked about. So if somebody specifically reaches out about a post, I know that when they go in there for the one thing, I'm getting them in the door, but then I'm showing them the store. So they're going to see a lot more. So I just love that. I think it's just great to encourage your teams to work together because, again, it's smarter, not harder. Now I don't have to be the one making sure I get in there and post every single day, but I can, share that responsibility a little bit.
Yeah.
So I like kind of freedom, right?
No, I think the biggest thing is again, like, first off, look among your team and your company. And if there's a system that's working, well, success leaves clues, right? I know some companies that have crushed it and their main focus is they love VIP groups, and others are, I love ATM groups, and others are, I love Zooms, and others, I love recorded Zooms, right? So you got to figure out what works best with your unique style and personality. And sometimes it's important to see what your leaders are doing. Now, if you feel like that is just, for sure is not your unique style, well, it is your own business. And people don't like me to say this, but you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And a lot of leaders will say, well, make your first million my way, and then you can make any way you want. I don't like that because it's important to understand the principle. And at first I would try their way and not try to reinvent it, try to make it work. But if you feel like you've done that, or you've established yourself as a leader, one or the other, you don't have to establish yourself as a leader, then you got to figure out what works best for you. As long as you're applying the principle, then you're good to go. YouTube, as a question was asked, YouTube's great because it's SEO. It's tough to build that. So I wouldn't say that you don't do that. I just think a group is much more valuable and much more duplicatable, and it's so easy to add everybody to it. So I don't think one takes away from the other. I just think the group is more important. As far as what would you say, Kylie? Pat asked, is it an open group?
No, so you want to keep it private just because you want people in there that want to be in there. But you can make it to where the settings are, you can send the link and they can join it. You know what I mean? So the goal is also, like, you want to maintain integrity. When you're having these big team groups, you have to have like a zero tolerance situation. So you can't have teammates in there that are just going to go, hey, you can buy from me, or hey, you can join for me. Like, if somebody does that in our group, they're getting kicked out. Like, it's just the way that it is, because, it has to be a safe playing space for everybody. So that's why we don't really want it public. We want to make sure it's invite only.
Well, I appreciate your time. It's been so fun. We've spent a good day today, and we still have 2 more days. And like I said, this is why I brought on, the Kylies, because you all get to hear different styles, different personalities, different communication ways. You get to ask like so many different questions as we go. And this helps for it all to make sense. And that's why, I give you 4 days to watch the replay, because I want to challenge everybody to actually watch it, because otherwise it becomes later. And that becomes never as we go. But it's so fun to see. And I'm always constantly learning and taking notes. Some things are reminders that I knew, and other times it's something, brand new that I hadn't heard, or the way that it was communicated. So Kylie, I just want to say thank you to you for taking the time, for coming on and sharing some of your secret sauce strategies, friend.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. See you guys.
Let's drop some love in the comments for Kylie. And tomorrow, if you're watching the live, we're going to start at the same time we did today. So I'll create a StreamYard where you can click get reminder. It will be at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time again. And we have 2 guest speakers tomorrow. And then the next day we'll have 3 guest speakers. And so I've got notes on everything I felt like was missed. And we also have other trainers that are training on certain things. So it's going to be so fun. We still got 2 more days, and make sure you guys tag me if you do add anybody to, or you guys promote this at all. I'll do my best to make sure I mention it back in my stories for you, but I am just so excited. This is going to be a ton of fun. The super duper way too early bird special. I just made up that title earlier today, right as we go, but it's going to be awesome. And if you love this 3-day virtual event, you're going to love that. So thank you so much, everyone. Drop in the comments below, what was your biggest takeaway or aha moment today? Until tomorrow, we'll see you guys.